predominantly in this area, E1, as they said, as most scholars says, is to travel outside of Africa, right, into the Levant areas, right, pertaining to the Natufians and those people up there, and then some of them migrated back. They call it the Outer Africa gene flow. You can go look it up. But I just wanted to say that, though. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So, to kind of address a few points. So again, haplogroup J originated in Georgia, which isn't the area of Mount Cootie. And also, if we're going to make the argument of Noah's Ark, technically, all mankind, which I do believe, by the way, I do believe in the Noah Ark story. I'm just going to say the argument. If we're going to use the argument and the truth that every man comes from Noah and Shem, Ham, and Japheth, then we also still have to say that Eve, Cain, originated out of Africa.
Facts.
Originated with one of the sons of Noah.
Facts.
So it wouldn't have just been J. It would be all the haplogroups originated with the various three sons, including.
Y'all listening to Laron get killed on Clubhouse because he's too afraid to come off that.
I still see them as being E. Now, I'm not going to say which E. Now, I know that I mentioned E1B1A, and I think you're kind of stuck on that because I know a lot of Hebrews do mention E1B1A. But I'm just going to be a bit broad and say I believe that the Israelites had haplogroup E, and I believe that E1B1A was one of the haplogroups of the Israelites. So now, when it comes to, again, haplogroup J, when looking at ancient populations and the languages that people spoke in these ancient populations, again, haplogroup J is anciently connected to regions and people of Caucasian persuasion. And Caucasian is neither Semitic nor Indo-European. And it's believed that haplogroup J originated with Caucasian people. And we even see when it comes to West Asians that they're genetically closer related to South Caucasus region. And this is the region where most linguists don't believe Semitic languages originated from. Semitic languages being connected to Afro-Asiatic languages originated either in the Horn of Africa.
He's talking to some dude named the Hebrew of I. I'm not familiar with him, James. You know how this shit go. This is Clubhouse. Laron on here trying to talk down on Israelites.
Going to be using languages as
but he don't want to come on here and talk to people. But this is what happens, man. He's trying to find anybody he can to, proclaim and preach to, because he know if he come on here, it's all that shit's going to get shut down. He got shut down on the channel before.
A name that we see to come from the people that are you.
Hey James, if you on Clubhouse, they live right now. It's a group called.
You keep trying to make J associated with just white people, but when you look at J, right, J is low among white people. If you pull up the chart, look up J. If you pull up J, it's low among white people.
So you hear Laron trying to make the argument that J is a low amongst white people, right? We all know DNA transcends skin gradation. We've been telling these dudes for years, but they argue, oh, well, you black, so you can't be a Jew. Y'all use skin color to argue all the damn time. Now you on here, well, J ain't, ain't just amongst white people. Like, y'all guys got double standards, man. You guys don't stand on anything, and you got the spine of a jellyfish. You know what I'm saying? Just jump. Like, brothers don't want to debate this. They want to go and preach about this shit all day. Y'all want to debate it, bro? Put it up there, man. Let's test your ideas. Let's test a haplogroup J versus haplogroup E. You're going to get knocked out the box because you got geneticists already saying haplogroup J wasn't even considered that, man. That shit was spread by the Turks. It became pervasive by the Turks. It did have a Bronze Age livelihood in the Levant, but that came later. We dominated there first. But when it became pervasive and really became a factor is during the Turkish enclaves and the wars when they were encroaching on those lands. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Laron wants to go preach, because he got on here on the source and got beat up 1,000 times on this same damn topic. We'll beat Vocab Malone up. We'll beat Abraham Melamed on YouTube up on this same topic, because you can't make J the children of Israel. You just can't. It don't fit. They Johnny come latelys. You understand? The real Israelites will have to have the E marker, man. The J marker is the marker of the damn Greeks. The J marker is the marker of the Greeks. And we know the Greeks, according to the Bible, I'm talking about the ancient Greeks, we're not talking about modern Greeks. We know the Greeks, according to the Bible, would be Javon. So how are you going to make Javon, Shem, and Japhet? Those are two different fathers, two different Y chromosomes that don't make no damn sense. But this is what happened when you had these religious preach sessions on what is this, Clubhouse. That's why brothers love Clubhouse, man. Any brother, pseudo tech would love Clubhouse because he can go in there and just run his damn mouth. But on the source, we make you source the hell up. Where the hell are you getting this from? Can you substantiate this? Can you provide any information or data for your claims? You understand? Niggas can't do it. So they run to the source. They run to the Clubhouse, bro. You can't do that shit at the source. You understand? We got rigorous debating methods as well. You got to have a presentation. You got to show your sources and cite your sources. Brothers think because they got a good mouthpiece, they can run off there and just do the polite thing, man. You know how polite do? Polite get up there and give you 1,000-word salads that don't mean any damn thing. And that's what these guys are imitating. They're not imitating scholarship. You understand? They're not imitating methodology, and they're not breaking none of this stuff down. Laron want black people to be stuck in Africa so bad, man, but that's not the case. E1B1A, oldest fucking remnants, oldest specimens were found outside of Africa. You just got to deal with that. It was found in France. It was found in Corsica. It was found in the BMAC culture in the Bronze Age period. All right, and that's near Iran, Turkmenistan, and Syria, where you said we didn't come from. You understand? So let's get it, man. Why is it Laron won't come on here and debate? You know what I'm saying? We had a debate with my brother King Self. He could have debated King Self. Why he ain't coming on the platform? These brothers love to be on this app called, what's it called? I didn't had a brain fart thinking about this damn app, but it's a preaching app, man. Y'all know what it is.
Caucasus. Caucasians
Clubhouse.
are not Indo-European. So when I say Caucasian, I'm not saying white people are Indo. Well, I guess you kind of can. If you believe an Armenian or a Georgian is white, then sure.
But I wonder if this has something to do with it. Real quick, I'm gonna be done. I heard that Haile Selassie was able to get support from other Caucasian nations, like for weapons, when he was fighting, based on the fact that he was classified as Caucasian. I wonder if those seem connected.
Wait, before y'all go.
Yeah, so that's
let me add something real quick to the conversation before y'all go. I will concur with the brother of the J marker. We see his first in the most ancient specimen.
Let's go.
Georgia, Russia. Then we see it maneuver down into Neolithic Iran, and then it's Chalcolithic Armenia and northern Levant. This is the same people who migrated to these different regions.
It's hard to hear you, brother.
Can y'all hear me now?
That's a bit better.
Brother. All right, cool. So when you deal with them, they go back to the macro haplogroup CF, which is responsible for populating all of Europe after the last glacial maximum. And according to our tradition, this is who the descendants of Japheth would be. They would go back to this macro haplogroup CF because these are the first indigenous people of Europe after what we would quote unquote call the flood. Just like you find the A and B haplogroups in the Nile Valley. And then when you're dealing in the Near East, I mean, I can give at least 3 articles off the top of my head that talk about how haplogroup D and E have their origins in Western Asia. So,
hey, Perry, I'm recording this off my phone, so that's why the volume not that good.
These sons of Noah. So when people try to streamline a J into Shem, it becomes problematic because it goes back to what they call ancient North Eurasians. When they split into Eastern hunter-gatherers of Europe and Western hunter-gatherers of Europe, they're a bit of a mixture of the Eastern and Western hunter-gatherers. So you can't really streamline them into Shem like that because I think the archaeological record with the DNA and stuff is very clear on who these people would be.
Actually, you're correct because when you think of J, you actually have to think of JI because J is connected to I.
Exactly.
Just like when you think of DE, D is connected to E. And haplogroup I is seen in Scandinavians. It's literally like a Germanic haplogroup. And Germanic people are Indo-European.
It's a Scandinavian haplogroup.
JI, technically, not just J, but JI could be more of a Japhetic haplogroup. Maybe it comes from, Ashkenaz and Gomer or something like that. But in my opinion, JI is definitely Indo-European.
We need it, but on the channel.
I is seen particularly in Germans and Scandinavian groups. So yeah, you're right, James. We do have to think of the dual connections.
Laron want to cut him off so bad.
Here's the problem that you did that I see here with this, because like for instance, he mentions he tries to use the language right for as Horians, right? He said they had Horian names, and so
that ain't what he just said.
This is something we see, and although you can use linguists or language as a use to.
That's not what he just said, Laron.
Data and determine certain things, but you can't isolate that alone. You can't just leave that right there because, for instance, we have people that are the Hyksos. The Hyksos didn't speak basically their own language. They spoke the language that was native at that time of the Egyptians, of the people that we see that was in those areas. They didn't speak their language, and so this is another thing that we know that these Hyksos was not people that was native to the land of Africa, you know what I'm saying? But they spoke the language of the people that was there. And so they didn't even leave what language they speaking. So that's one of the things that we can see to where you can't always look at or determine between just because you see what the Horians spoke or this and that. And then here's another problem too that I want to bring up too. When you look at the areas that the Israelites dwelt at, right? Like for instance, like let's talk about the Limbas today, the Ethiopian Jews today. The Ethiopian Jews we see have a marker which we see this is J1C3, right? Now we know that the Ethiopian Jews have that marker, and how they got that marker. Either somebody came from Arabia, because we see that it's in Arabia, or the Levant area. Well, we know this is somebody that came from the Levant area because we see that we done a comparative study, and what we seen is that these brothers that have markers that we see that line up with other Kohen.
Yeah, James on that.
Other areas that's in the Levant area, and then not only that is we see that someone traveled down, got with a woman that we see that came up out of the Bantu expansion. And so we see that on the maternal side, we see that they have markers that we see that come out of the Bantu expansion, and on the on the paternal side, we see they have markers.
No, you had it right the first time, nigga.
Out of the Levant area, on the mother side, the maternal side, we see that they have markers that come from the Bantu expansion, and so we can see that how this person came down. And so what I'm saying is this is autosomal.
Let me turn LeBron down right now, so you getting a little preacher boy on. He conveniently didn't touch on what James came in there and killed them on. The CF lineages are all early Neolithic European lineages. They have nothing to do with Shem. These people would have been Japhetic if we're going to follow the tradition. If you're not following the tradition, the biblical tradition that Laron claims to stake a claim in, that he follows, according to that would be Javon's lineage. The early Greeks, the early Europeans would fall in that lineage. The early Medes would fall in that lineage, the sons of Mediah, and so on and so forth. So you're just going to ignore that because you want to make J into the Jews. But J is connected to the Scandinavians. J is connected to the early Greeks. J is connected to the early Europeans. There's no way around it. And according to Josephus, these people would have been considered to be Japhetic, not Shemitic. This is the problem he's having. That's the flaw in his argument. Now, we can easily pull up the data tables and nothing. That's pretty, you know what I'm saying? You know how we do here. Keep one in the chamber, one in the head. Japhetic lineages, i.e. early Europeans. FM89 populations represent the main out of Africa migration of our species. Descendant populations of the FM89 group terminate in the following mutations. The M423, the Balkan I group. The M26 is the Sardinian I group. So these F lineages are all related to each other on the father side paternally. These are paternal groups. They're all dealing with Europe, man. The Central European, the I group, the Scandinavian I group, the Near Eastern is what they get stuck on with the J group. We find this also in Greece. But look what it's related to. All these F lineages. The Caucasus, the G group, the Finno-Baltic N group, the Western European R group, and Eastern European R group. Right? So we can see where these ancient groups were and where they were found. They're all related to these early Europeans, which have nothing to do with Shem. You can't make it make sense from a narrative standpoint. You understand? And you're right. The irony is that is true, because all these years, the DNA argument has been like, well, you got to have the DNA. Now we're showing and shedding light on DNA and the studies about DNA, and we can see CF lineages have nothing to do with Shem. There's no way it could. And the people that brought the Proto-Asiatic, the people that we would call Shemites in the first place, would be the E haplogroup coming from EP2, right? Which is our paternal clade, which is E1B1A and E1B1B's paternal clade. So the evidence is leaning to our side. The other side of with this J stuff is just based off tradition. There's no evidence as far as ancestry goes. It's just based off of what these people say they are. Oh, these people keep the practices. Well, they keep the Talmud and the Halakha. Who gives a fuck? What about their DNA? What about that? I'm gonna let y'all hear the rest of this conversation.
And Madai, Jovan, Chubu, Mesich, and Therese. Now, I have never heard anyone but this brother try to make them the people of the Medes, because the Madai is the Medes. I have never heard anybody try to look at it and try to, scholarly, try to say that the Medes and the Persians are basically the same
just
people.
Look up the definition of Medes.
It's Madai, bro. It's Madai. So
no,
listen,
all right.
bro.
Let me read it real quick out of the dictionary.
Okay. Hold on. Before you read, hold on.
A member of an Iranian people who inhabited ancient Media. A member of an Iranian people who inhabited ancient Media.
Cut.
It is Iran, brother.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, and a couple of biblical scholars also would agree.
Exactly. I don't even know where he's coming from with that. Why fight so hard for Jay?
No. Why they had the Medes and Persian Empire. These are two different people mixing together. One is from Japhetic,
Right.
and one is with Japhetic, and one is Shemitic.
Wait,
So
if the
don't
Medes
try
are
to
Japhetic,
Oh, so hold on. I know. Hold on. But look, Madai is not only Iranian, but guess who else is Iranian? The Persians. Let's look it up, bro. So look. So don't try to play me. So look what it says here. It says,
Good.
Okay, so let's agree that it's half Persian.
Hold on, James. Let him finish, James.
Let's agree that if you don't get your
for
damn
5
mic, I'm going to
minutes.
keep
That brother
you up out of
couldn't
here.
finish.
It don't matter.
you know LaRon not gonna let you
Hold
go.
on,
He
'cause
getting
I
ready to
wanna
kick your
clarify
ass out
something
right now,
because there's
James.
some slippery slopes, some slick stuff going on here. So I want to make something real clear so we can understand. Then the brother can go on, and then you can go. But what you
You see that LaRon was like, oh, well, he just hurt my doctrine, so you're not going to be able to speak no more, James. You see how that goes? James cut him on the Madai. He said that the Madai was the Japhetic people. If the Madai are the Japhetic people and you're giving them the Iranian stamp, and if we go according to DNA, they would be one of those I or G markers. That is directly related to J. I is related to J. All of these clades that we're showing are related to each other because they all go back to FM89. So again, if you say the ancient Greeks had J, which we do know that's the case, then say, okay, they are the ancient inhabitants or be Jawan. Okay, according to the biblical tradition. That's the tradition that you're a part of. Then you would have to acquiesce to the fact that those that have the Jewish J marker, as they call it, would have to be Japhet as well because they share the same paternal clade. This is not rocket science. Share the same Y chromosome. are Y chromosome is related to each other by the father, by the paternal clade. That means they share the same ancestral fathers, same ancestral fathers. There's no way around it. They would both be Japhet. You can't turn around and say one's Japhet and one's Shem. They both share the same Y chromosomal ancestors. This is the wall that Laron keeps running into, and this is why he cut James off. He didn't want James to keep, killing him on that and pretty much making his wounds worse than they already are. He bleeding out. When he brought up Madai, he basically acquiesced to the fact that they Japhetic. There's no way around that, man. Let's get it.
So we have to allow edgewise for someone to say something, but let's try to make the point concise so people can deal with it, and then I can see.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this real concise. Let's agree that it's not only because anybody who looks up media is gonna say Iran. I don't know where Laron is trying to act like it doesn't say Iran for media. Anybody can Google it right now. It's gonna always go back to ancient Iran. So let's say it's separated. So let's say it's some people from indigenous to the area, some Japhetic.
What are they called?
Which DNA? Let me just make the point. Which DNA marker would be closer related to the indigenous people of Europe than to the people of the Middle East? That would become the question. And then, like the brother brought up with the IJ, and I is found in ancient Italy. It's found in ancient like Switzerland, I believe. Scandinavia. So I mean, like this is.
But James, there's a difference.
Real quick. I'm closing it up. It's clearly more akin and closely related to the Europeans, the ancient Europeans, than it is to the people in the Near East who spreaded agriculture and had haplogroup DNA.
But the brother is bringing up some compelling evidence that suggests that some of the scholarship that's being presented can possibly be a stretch. Not that you brothers are wrong, because what I'm hearing right now is actually a wonderful.
Let me turn my brother LV down. Check this out. To back up what my brother James is saying, and this is why, these dudes don't want to come on here where your ideas have to be tested. This is the Britannica, real quick. What does this say? Media. Ancient region. Y'all see that? Ancient region. Iran. We see that, right? Media. Ancient country of northwestern Iran. Generally corresponding to modern regions of Azerbaijan and Kurdistan and parts of Kermanshah. Media first appears in the text of the Assyrian king Shalmaneser III, in which people to the land of Mada are recorded. The inhabitants came to be known as the Medes. So we know exactly who these people are. We know exactly where they were. And we got their DNA. Ain't no way around it. These people are I, G, and J. They're not. So if these people, the Medes, which according to the biblical tradition, which Laron follows, supposedly, these people will automatically be Japhet. That's game over. A quick Google search, Britannica, boom, killed this nigga. You understand? Ain't no way around it. And if the Medes are Japhetic, then and they have J, they have I, they have G, that will make the Ashkenazi Jews that have the J marker Japhetic too, because they share the same paternal clade. They all come from FM89. CF lineages. This is easy stuff. This is why Laron loves to go to Clubhouse. It's just a preaching place. It's a place where you preach. Rob Bourne loves it. Polite would love it too. Polite would love Clubhouse because he can just preach on and preach on and preach on and give a good sermon. None of that bullshit holds any weight over here. All right.
Back, and it's going to lead you back to CF lineages, which mainly descend from ancient North Eurasians, which would have been the Japhetic people. And then, like, when you get into places like Iran and you find that J marker there, and you know Iran is the place where the Medes of the sons of Madai was, and you
also you find J in Russia. Sorry to cut you off.
Madai is in Iran. But like I said, so when you see that J marker in ancient Iran, and it's more closely related to European lineage, it just naturally shows that it descends from CF, which would be the Japhetic lineage.
Also, autosomally, J is connected because of those remains. Autosomally, ancient J people had Iranian chalcolithic DNA. But yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with that term, autosomally.
Yeah, autosomal DNA is basically DNA that's this admixture. It's not necessarily your lineage. So if you have an E haplotype, meaning you're from Africa, and let's say your African great grandfather had a child with a white woman, and then that child had a child with, well, he's a male, he has a child with an Asian person, and then that male child has a Arabic or Arab. When you do your DNA test, autosomally, meaning the mix, you're going to show the Asian, the Arab at various percentages. But your E haplogroup that represents your lineage, where you came from, is going to be basically it's the thing that's going to tell you historically where you came from.
But also keep in mind that you can't have pure autosomal DNA. Like an actual person from the Far East Asia, China, can be purely Chinese if they had no language.
You might some variances, but I do know if you go like deep into like countries like parts of like rural China or like rural Africa, like the Congo and stuff, I think you're gonna find
something like that.
You're gonna find people that's gonna have like 99-100% almost. Like there's a lot of Europeans like that. If you look at a lot of Europeans with 23andMe.
Yeah.
Hey, Laron, I wanted to because that point you were trying to make about media in Persia.
Good discussion, by the way.
Yeah, it's called Media in Persia, and you went to media is from the Japhet, and you went to read Genesis. That's Elam. Elam are the Persians.
Yeah, you got Elam, which is your Persians. You got also some of the
I can
Iranians.
address that when you're done, by the way.
The Persians wasn't all Elam too. That's a damn lie, man. Well, we know who the medians are.
I think Josephus, who explains who your Persians is just as well too. So Medes is
pull the source
of Medes and what's called. But then, even with that, there poses a problem too with that too, because as I was stating before, when you look at these areas, like he's trying to take Iranian or people that come from Iran, but if you look at Israel, I mean, if you look at the whole of people, they came from Iran, and then not only that is they came into Arabia, or they came into Mesopotamia. So all of this trying to associate these people and try to say that these people basically are European and
they are,
and all this, Caucasoid. Well, if you look at what the Bible is actually saying, these are the areas where these people actually come from. And so, if they come from these areas, they would have picked them.
Wait a minute. Did y'all hear what this dude just said? This is why we don't allow this tomfoolery on the source. He just made some. This is where they came from. Israelites didn't have they Genesis in Europe and Central Europe. Come on, man. In Scandinavia, they didn't have their Genesis in no damn Scandinavia. Oh, these are what no, they don't. What the hell wrong with you, man? Laron would say any damn thing. What the hell, bro? Let's just read this article real quick while he rant over there. We're going to actually source up over here. So this is +1. You already know what's going on, man. Ancient migratory events in the Middle East. New clues from the Y chromosome variation of modern Iranians, right? This was published July 18, 2012. Knowledge of high-resolution Y chromosome haplogroup diversification within Iran provides important geographic context regarding the spread and compartmentalization of male lineages in the Middle East and Southwestern Asia. At present, the Iranian population is characterized by an extraordinary mix of different ethnic groups speaking a variety of Indo-Iranian, Semitic, and Turkic languages. Why are they speaking these Turkic languages? Because many of these clades became pervasive during the Turkish enclaves that invaded that area. And that's what Dr. Nathaniel Jensen said. He came to that conclusion. Wait a minute, this is the effects of a historical event. Let's read on. It says, despite these features, only few studies have investigated the multi-ethnic components of the Iranian gene pool. In this survey of 938 Iranian male DNAs belong to 15 ethnic groups from 14 Iranian provinces were analyzed for 84 Y chromosome biallelic markers and 10 STRs. The results show an autochthonous but non-homogeneous ancient background mainly composed of J2A subclades with different external contributions. The phylogeography of the main haplogroups allowed identifying post-glacial and Neolithic expansions towards Western Eurasia, but also recent movements towards the Iranian region from Western Eurasia, R1b and Q and J2A and M92. So again, all of these groups right here, all these groups, FN89 lineages, they are related to the early Europeans, the I, the G, the H. You understand? So how are you making these people Jews again? And we already tied to the biblical narrative that these people will be Japhet. Period. And if they're the early Iranians, if they're the ancient Iranians during that time, we just read to you who the Iranians were. The people of Madai. Which one is it? If they're the people of Madai, the Medes are Japhet, and they have the J2 marker, then they are Japhetic. Unless you just go disregard the biblical narrative all of a sudden. Madness, man.
People in India are from Shem, and that they come from Elam. And Dravidian people have haplogroup H, which is seen around the Persian Gulf as well in Iran. So I don't believe that the Elamites had J. I believe that the Elamites had H, because we do see ancient Dravidian connection with the Elamites linguistically and even genetically when you look at the migration of haplogroup H and when you look at the entrance of South Asian.
No, he's going off on that one.
The Dravidian populations. So, to make my point clear, Persian is Indo-European. Persians did not exist in the ancient times compared to Madai and the Iranian Chalcolithic. Iranian Chalcolithic predates Persians, and the Iranian Chalcolithic people would have spoke an ancient Proto-Iranian language. Which
Wait, hold up.
Iranians
I got a question.
To Indo-Europeans.
So the Hebrew, you said that Iran existed before Persia, because you got to remember Persia.
Yes,
Iran
because
used to be called,
Persia.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold up, but Iran used to be called Persia all the way until 1970. The word Iran is literally new. So
No, I mean, well, let me clarify. Sorry. The name Persia doesn't go back to, let's say, the early Bronze Age. That's what I mean by it's not ancient. That's why I used the word ancient twice.
Wait,
Persia.
hold on
Persia.
real quick, bro. Because what you're doing is you kind of, if you look at you saying certain stuff real quick, right? So what I did was I looked up the Elamites and looked up what haplogroups that they have today. It says together with other clades, the haplogroup R1 group comprises the single most common haplogroup among the Elamites. But look what it says: haplogroup J2A, subclass J2A3A M47, J2A3B M67, J2A3H M53. More specifically, is he second most highly commonly occurring.
He's struggling.
The lineage in the Elamites is associated with the fusion of agriculturalists. So we see that clearly that these fellas right here definitely got J markers, high J markers among them, as well as R1 markers just as well too. So
that's what makes them Japhet.
With the Iranians up north.
Wait, hold on, but hold on. The point I'm trying to make is this:
no, you're not making a good point.
Entirely too fast, but not speaking fast enough. In other words, what I'm saying is this: I caught that.
Wait, what?
And so what you're doing is you speaking and you're saying stuff saying that they don't have J, but then it's looking right here saying that they do have J.
Nobody said. Wait a minute. This is
no. Hold on. Hey, hold on, James. James, listen, bro. You didn't say that. So why are you speaking?
Because I'm bringing clarity to the situation, just like LV Europa does it. It's fine when LV Europa does it. When I want to bring
hold on. I'm saying this is bro.
I'll clear up my statement in a minute.
Let him clear up his own statement.
I'm in the conversation too. You acting like I'm the conversation because you don't want to hear what I got to say first.
I just want to make this clear. He said that, and he needs to stand corrected on that because he's wrong.
Okay, I want to speak to that though. Okay, cool. That's your thing. All right. Anybody who has read these papers about the genetics of the ancient or the ancient Europeans right after the last glacial maxims or during that time period would know that when you deal with these G's that came down there, these H's that come down there, and these J's and stuff that come down there, they all descend from ancient North Eurasians. All these articles talk about this. That's why it's not good to run the Google real quick.
You cut out
all right,
for a second.
All right, cool. That's why it's not good to run the Google real quick. Google and just look at something and then come out talking about it when you haven't actually read the study.
Exactly.
In any depth whatsoever.
Exactly.
Like I said, I did about a 2-hour-long presentation just on these ancient genomes in these regions and all the studies that go into it. So I've done in-depth study on this. He hasn't. He's just going to Google saying, oh, here you go, Elamites. Let me see what they say about genetics. And let me just point out anything that contradicts what they said without knowing what's going on in the background.
Facts.
These people came from northern Iran down into that region through Georgia. I mean,
Hold on. So hold on. So y'all can understand this. Listen, if you look at the migration of Noah, it's exactly that. They migrate out of there, right? It says they migrate. They end up in the mess. They end up in what you see is in areas of between the Tigris Euphrates, and then migrate to Iraq. It's that. And so then when you look at, they would have migrated.
I'm gonna point out the stupidity of Laron right now. He's bringing up Noah. We understand Noah had a central point of diffusion where we all came from. That's not the argument. The argument is Noah had 3 children, and we believe the Y chromosomes diverged there from those 3 sons onward. And Japheth would represent the CF lineages. Shem will represent the DE lineages, and Ham will represent the AB lineages. Why do we say that? Because according to tradition, Japheth's seed will be the first ones to go and inhabit ancient Europe after the flood. And who do we see there? During the ancient Mesolithic times, Neolithic times, we see I, G. Cheddar Man was I. You understand? We see the Scandinavians, the I. We see J there. We see H there. You understand? We see those lineages there. So with that line of logic, then we would have to make them Japheth. Why do we make Ham A and B? Because they are known as the Proto-Africans. And we will give Ham that honor of going in to Africa and inhabiting first. Now, whether a mixture, yes, but according to tradition, who are these people that came in and swept in first, who swept into Europe first? Obviously, ancient DNA is proven that I, J, H, and G, which are all F lineages, are the first ones to go in and to inhabit Europe according to our tradition after the flood, because the scriptures say that these 3 children will repopulate the earth. If you don't believe in that narrative, that's different. But if you in the narrative like Laron is, then you would have to make sense within the narrative. You understand? And then DE, the first ones to get Proto-Asiatic, the ones that were known for agriculture and spreading agriculture, that's all our lineage. That's DE. You understand? That's EP2, E1B1A, E1B1B. That's us. So we tie that lineage to us. That's why what's his name? Sir Keith, when he found the EP2, and then the brother, I can't think of the brother's name right now, but he basically said these could have been the ancestors when he was talking about the Natufians of what we call Shemites. All right. So I'm gonna let the conversation go on, but he's got to make sense of this J marker shit. He's not making sense of it. How can the J markers be related to the Greeks and the Medes? He hasn't made sense of it yet. He's running away from that.
J markers in Iran.
Hold on, listen. Yeah. And the reason why you see the Japheth would dwell in the tents of Shem, because you know what the tents is? It means the booths or tabernacles of Shem. And you know what that means? Is that they're going to have, if we see that Japheth should be enlarged, we see that also that they're going to dwell in the tents of Shem. That's going to be a connection there.
Hold on, that's another marker of how we distinguish who's Japheth. CF lineages are the biggest representation of humans, period. There are more CF lineages outside of Africa than any other lineage. You understand? You got the Negritos, you got the East Asians. When I mentioned China, is the Chinese consist of CF lineages. A lot of them are O. And we know China has one of the largest populations, if not the largest population on the planet Earth. So if we matching it up according to the narrative, because we look at the Bible as a historical document. We don't look at it as some kind of, mysticism. We look at it as a historical document. It's actually the records of humanity, right? Diverging in the book of Genesis. So if we look at it from that lens, then we'll say, okay, when we look at the genomic data, it would have to make sense because the Bible is dealing with historical reality. And the largest group is the CF lineages. They represent the largest group. Like I brought up China. Many people in India are descendants of CF. And then that will line you back up to Japheth. You can't run away from it. There's no running from it, man.
So, as we seen today, if you came and you looked at Americans today or whatever, we all would speak the language that you see that is English, but we are actually, you come from the continent of Africa. So I don't know why.
I can address that, by the way.
Right. So hold on. I know you've been trying.
I know when you're done.
Yeah, but you ain't really addressed that fully because you keep using the same argument, knowing that you got to use. If you're going to use that argument, you got to have a comparative study to see why. To say why or what these people are Horians, and then this is what this is dealing with. But your argument is not prevalent at all because you're looking at a melting pot. It's furthermore that's in the pot area, anyways.
Well,
so can you come with that source though? Because I really want to see that source.
I'll come up with that source, but also when it comes, we tested core Araxes remains as well, and the core Araxes people had the exact same DNA as the Horians. But first, let me give you the Horian names in Canaan. But by the way, while I pull this up, I'm kind of multitasking in my brain. But by the way, just to mention about what blacks having English names, again, we're dealing with very, very ancient peoples. And so the names that they have are going to be their original names. Like when we deal with like the original, let's say the original Indo-European people in Germany, they're going to carry their own names to the places that they go to, just like the Horians will carry their own names. Because how else did Horian names even get to the Levant? I mean, they had to come with a people.
Wait, hold on, bro.
The conditions on why they go there will determine it. Are they going there of their free will? Are they going there as a dominant force that already have people there? A lot of these people lose their identities over time, and it doesn't take a long time either.
Yeah, and it's when it comes to the Horians, it seems like they came there from the Mitanni Empire. Again, the Mitanni Empire in northern Mesopotamia is an Indo-European empire because they literally had Iranian names, just like their DNA shows that they have Iranian Chalcolithic DNA. Mitanni Empire is Indo-European; it's not Semitic. And they were in league with the Hittites. The Mitanni Empire is Indo-European and not Semitic, and also the Mitanni were allies.
Hold on, you go ahead.
Yeah, and the Mitanni Empire. I know I speak fast. I'm sorry. And the Mitanni Empire was in league with the Hittites, and the Hittites are Indo-European people. They spoke a Anatolian language, which is Indo-European, and it's actually believed for one of the theories for the origin of Indo-European is one, you have the Yamnaya theory, which is that Indo-European originated in the Ukraine, north of the Caucasus. You have the Armenian theory that Indo-European originated in Armenia, and you have the Anatolian theory that Indo-European originated in Anatolia. So,
well, hold on.
Those are close by.
Hold on, real quick. Now here's another problem, right? And I didn't know if y'all catch this or not. Okay, let me ask you this question, bro. Who do the Hittite people descend from? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, some people would say that it comes from Heth, but we have to know what the Paleo Hebrew said. I got to look into the Paleo Hebrew, but some people say it's Heth, son of Canaan. But again, I gotta know what the actual ancient Hebrew said.
Also, I want to add on to what this brother's saying, man, because we also got to understand something. What they did was a fatal error with the Persians. What they did with the Persians was they said Elamites. Persians don't consist of nothing but Elamites. I don't know where they get that idea from. Also, this Hittite Empire, the Hittite Empire is not comprised of just sons of Ham. That's the argument he finna come up with. Oh, well, these are sons of Ham. No, that's not how kingdoms work. And guess what? Ancient Israel just didn't compose of just ancient Israelites. But especially more so with the Hittite Empire. You got to understand how this works. Actually, and the same thing with Egypt. Egypt was a hodgepodge of people throughout its history when it started. So when people say, well, who are the Hittite people and who are like the same thing with the Canaanite people. Oh, the Canaanite people are a hodgepodge of people. Yes, they carried the name Canaan. That doesn't mean every single individual that came with the title Canaanite was what you call a Hamite. That's just false. Same thing with the Phoenicians. We can go on and on and on. It's replete in history. Everybody that was in Greece were not Grecians, were not of the same stock, if you will, or Japhet. But here's the problem with this guy's methodology. We're trying to get to the origin of these basic groups or the basal groups of these people, right? So we'll say basal Japhetic. How do we determine that? Again, according to the narrative, who were the first people in Europe? This is what I would keep taking Laron back to. Who were the first people in Europe? Once we identify who were the first ones in Europe, where did they come from? You can't say that's a Semitic legacy because that's not in our doctrine. Our doctrine does not say this, the Shemites were the first ones to inhabit Europe. It just doesn't say it. Where do you get that from? And then that puts them in a conundrum. All right.
They were speaking the native land tongues of the people that was of the land and had these type of names that we see. So to sit
I
up
can
there
address that, by the way.
Right, you keep saying you can address that, but listen, ancient cultures that we see plenty of times, even when you talk about people being Hellenized at times, have taken on names that we see of other people. You know what I'm saying? And so some ancient names does stay. But when you're looking at that text right there, to sit up there and say that, and then brother, if you can, I need you to bring that source out because you ain't really grabbed that source.
Yeah, I got it ready right here.
All right, let's go. Go give me the source, brother. You don't mind.
And I want to speak after he does.
All right, cool. What the source say, brother?
All right, so I'm going to give you the source, and then I'm going to address what you said. So first source, it's from the National Geographic. It's called Exclusive Royal Burial in Ancient Canaan May Shed New Light on Biblical City.
All right, so do me a favor. Take that, and put that in the side chat. So it's National Geographic, and it says it may shed light on what again?
Laron be struggling, bro.
National Geographic Exclusive Royal Burial in Ancient Canaan may shed new light on Biblical City. And I still want to address your point, by the way.
Okay, really. Okay, go ahead.
So when it comes to the Hittites, honestly, I don't believe Hittites come from the son of Ham, son of Canaan. And I think we even have to be careful about that because I believe that those nations mentioned in the book for Canaan, I believe that this was representing the nations that will rule Canaan. And it was really more of or so a spiritual thing because again, you got Heth who made Hittites.
Man, let me explain that, man. Listen, Yes, these people are called Hittites. Does that have something to do with the eponymous ancestor being connected to the Hamites? Sure. But when you get to the period of time, which is the Bronze Age, that area, where is Hittite? The Hittite empires around Turkey, right? That area was inundated by a couple groups, and these groups got together, assimilated, and formed that empire. So to say that one person or one group was one ethnic group, that's just inherently flawed. Same thing with the Persians. These are culminations of people coming together to form that empire or group. So how do you pinpoint one goddamn ethnic group on these people? That comes from a understanding of being dogmatic, like what brothers used to say about Egypt. Oh, well, these were all Hamites. But then when we did the DNA, it didn't line up with Hamites. Now, did it? Because, again, the 18th dynasties are, okay, I'm sticking to the early Egyptians, the pre-Kerma population would have had A markers, which would make them Hamites according to our model. But you can't just stick one group on an entire plethora of people. You got to deal with the history behind it. You have to deal with the what's the word I'm looking for? Not the archaeology, but the study of the people themselves to come to that conclusion.
Done any in-depth studies into ancient European genetics or anything?
I also mentioned the culture of Coraxes.
Exactly, Karelia. In Karelia is where you find the most ancient J marker you're going to find up towards Finland in that region. And we talked about how it migrated into Iran through Georgia, Russia, how it's more closely related to the ancient Europeans. And he didn't really say anything that would refute anything we were saying.
Exactly.
Those points are really challenging. Those are the most key points to the argument, because the argument is really about whether J is closer, is J a Japhetic link? I think also to the point Laron was saying, to that language and stuff can change due to, people coming in, taking over, conquering the people, so on and so forth. Well, you also got to apply that in these areas as well. When you find people with J markers speaking Shemitic languages, it doesn't mean that they're Shemitic. They could have just picked that up due to people they've lived around. But I really want to.
A study actually literally says that, by the way, that J people adopted Semitic languages. But you can keep going.
Yeah, there's a study about the close connectedness of the E and the J markers due to it pretty much helping the E marker spread farming around the Near East. So I mean, like,
right, the E and J overlap each other in many areas.
Yeah, because of but we when you do the study that it's still closely related to these East what do they call it? The ancient Eastern European hunter-gatherers. And
Caucasus hunter-gatherers. Haplus J originated with Caucasus hunter-gatherers. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to sit there, are you going to say that that's not the land of Japheth? Are you going to say that, he already admitted he ain't done the study. So you probably should leave the topic alone if you ain't done the studies there, because you're arguing from ignorance at that point. But he needs to do the studies on these ancient European lineages and then have a more informed argument. That way, when we bring up things like this,
exactly,
on things like the genetics being close to the other Europeans and stuff, he can actually approach that argument and stop trying to make it seem like we just trying to lie to the people, keep trying to frame everything we saying. Just deal with the point we saying. So
let's read this article. Let's read this article right here that he talked about. All right, so let's read it. Let's read right.
He's not going to touch on what James said.
Did you find the part? I can.
I got it right here, brother.
He's not going to even touch on what James just said.
Treasure trove.
Oh right? My God!
It says currently a broad DNA study is being carried out on many individuals unearthed at Megiddo, those from the royal tomb, as well as those from less elaborate. How do you say that?
He's struggling. He's struggling to read.
Elaborate,
I'm in a different area in the paragraph.
What area? Other domestic area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Burials from other domestic areas of the site. The ancient DNA results could for the first time revealed whether the common inhabitants of the Canaanite city-state were of the same background as the elite. Finkelstein notes. It says researchers are particularly intrigued about the origin of Megiddo's ruling class since diplomatic correspondence with Egypt in the 14th century BCE following the conquest of Thutmose III reveals that the king of Megiddo at that time did not have a Semitic traditionally Canaanite name, but rather a Horian name.
So that's what I was referring to.
Right.
So you can keep reading though.
I go. So basically, these are the Canaanite graves that you was talking about.
Yes, these are. This is just one of the graves.
That's a good point.
Graves also had Horian names, non-Semitic names, and that was one of the ruling class of the Canaanite kings. That, of course, the Israelites were fighting.
That's a good point.
But you can keep reading it, or I can read it because I have it pulled up as well.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna keep reading it, but I just want to kind of like kind of look at this part real quick and ask you questions.
That's a good point.
About
he trying to wiggle out of it.
clearly we see that this is not really the same article that we see.
No, nigga, address what you just read, man.
That they just recently found. I believe when is this article was found? What's this?
He trying to get up out of there.
This one was. I can also give you. It says it in the article.
I want this brother on the show.
Referring to. It says it that also Koreans and non.
If anybody know Brandon Israel, hit him up, man. Let him know we want him on the show.
We have one. You have one king. Right. You have one king that you see here, right? Who is a Horian, right? And he has a Horian name right here.
Right. And he would have a family, of course.
Right. So did they find his bones, or did they found just the Canaanite bones? They
tested his bones. They sequenced his bones. Yeah. Actually, as a matter of fact,
let's look at it again.
He trying to just look at it again. Let's re-examine it. Ain't no getting out of this, nigga. But I told him this a long time ago when he kept bringing that damn J mark up and the Canaanite burial. I said, first of all, those are Canaanites, and you believe all Canaanites are Ham. So, you're trying to? Are you saying J is Ham now? Like, which one is it? You niggas do not make up your mind. But secondly, all that shows is an introgression of people. People introgress with each other. There are no such things as static ethnic groups. People don't just stand and sit in areas for a long time without intermixing or admixing. They usually move around because of famine, especially when you a hunter-gatherer group. When there's no farming, no agriculture yet, no food producers. You get up and move. You have to move with the game, the wild game. You have to follow them, follow the food, or you starve and you die. These people are introgressing. It's clear. So you will have different ethnic groups, different gene pools coming and intermixing and playing and burying themselves and practicing and borrowing different people's cultures. It's very easy to understand why you see J in those groups. And anyway, you believe Canaan is Ham. You think just because you see the word Canaan, Ham. So now is Canaan J? That don't make no damn sense. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah, he got his skates on. Brother fucked them up with that article, man. The article told you they had Hurrian names, and he don't even want to touch on that. Now you trying to, what's the date? When did they do this? Man, you getting your ass whooped again. Laron, every time I see you and you try to bring up and invoke DNA, you get your ass whooped because you don't know what you're talking about. And you admitted to James you did not do any in-depth study. We do this. We read this. We eat this. We digest this. We breathe this. You understand? Oh, then go for all you niggas, Team Osiris. All you niggas do not read and study this stuff. We buy book after book after book, read article and article, and digest this stuff, and we try to understand it to the best of our ability. All y'all dudes do is hear our argument and come with ad hoc, post hoc arguments, which is a fallacy, man. If y'all don't know what an ad hoc, post hoc argument is, let's say we having a discussion, and I say, cheese is unhealthy, and you ain't studied anything about cheese, and you just make some shit up out your damn head. That's an ad hoc, post hoc argument. No, cheese ain't unhealthy because, you know what I'm saying, the cheese has a molecule in it that actually burns fat. Okay, let me see a document from it. Oh, man, I ain't got it right now. Oh, you can't prove it. You just made that shit up off the top of your dome because you don't like what I said. And that's what Laron does, what all these dudes do on the internet. For instance, the Sephardic Jews, I brought out a book. The book says, according to Jonathan Scorch, his argument was that the Jews were not counted amongst white people and they could be counted amongst black people. They didn't even deal with what that was. Oh, that doesn't mean that. They came up with a post hoc, ad hoc argument. But if you actually read the reference that you see in the on the notation that tells you where the reference came from, it explains what Jonathan Scorch meant. He meant literally black, somatically black. People that look black, dark skin, are what we call and consider black. But this is what these dudes do on the internet. This is what these dudes do on Clubhouse, man. Post hoc and ad hoc fallacies all day. They don't know shit about the topic. He don't know nothing about the Hurrians. He don't know nothing about the ancient DNA genome, the ancient European genome. He don't know shit about that. But he want to open his mouth and talk about it, bro. That's an ad hoc fallacy.
They're supposed to be two completely different peoples. I don't think the Israelites
The reason why they
would have had J or Iranian calculated DNA, because those are the Canaanites. Israelites aren't Canaanites. The Israelites would have had a different genome.
I can't believe you just said that. And the reason why I'm saying that is this is, and this is what I'm saying. This is the problem right here. You got brothers that has R1B, that has R1A haplogroups, right? And I'm gonna tell you how that happens. That happens when a person who is a woman, right, who goes unto basically, she might be taken into servitude or whatever case may be, and so that woman, she marries a man, right? And when she marries that man,
what the hell is he talking about, bro?
Right,
like, address the brother's question.
White man. Well, let's say, for instance, they have a child. He's going to develop the haplogroup.
Yo, y'all listening to this? Father. Why is Laron going into this and not addressing what this man just said?
And he keeps marrying, and his descendants keep marrying a black woman. Then you turn around, you look, and you say, well, damn, I got a child that has a haplogroup of a European, right? But it's black. So this is actually what's happening. So what you're doing is you're trying to take this, use this to say, well, how is it that they can have these haplogroups, or how is it they this? Because it's called admixture. It's called these people mixing up together. So you can be like, you look at some of the
that doesn't even address what he said.
Look at some of them have E haplogroups. Do you know that?
Yep. Yeah, I even mentioned that about the Samaritans. They have E-M78.
So why are you?
Not the Israelites have.
So why would you ask that question? What you just said? Go ahead, brother.
Because
can I speak after? Can I speak after?
Oh, we got Yehukanan in the building. You know, he a little firecracker.
Just as a listener, what I'm hearing is in Hebrew, you're doing a good job. Laron is doing what he's supposed to do.
Oh, let me turn LV down real quick. He's trying to play moderator. Check this out, man. What the hell did he just say have to deal with the fact that this man is making the point that those J markers actually were hurrying individuals? Why the hell is he not addressing that point? He's dancing to the tulips. He's obviously diverting and causing it red herring right now. And see, on my show, I wouldn't let that happen. I would say, okay, cool. Whatever you just said, cool. Now let's get back to this fact that we found this herring tied to this J marker right here, which kills your whole goddamn doctrine. Let's talk about that. This brother want to go talking about, he went all the way to America with, oh, well, you got brothers that actually are, and we know that, nigga. Now let's get back to this grave site with these Canaanite burials, the J markers, and got Hurrian names attached to it. Stick this nigga back to what you brought out first, because obviously he cannot deal with that. You know what I'm saying? This dude's a dilettante. And he know he can't. That's why he wiggling and squirming his way out of that.
R marker is a Japhetic marker.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, the R marker is a
I believe
Japhetic
the
marker.
R
Say what?
marker is basically European. I believe the R marker is European.
Okay, no, I'm saying, do you believe? Listen, what I'm saying. Do you believe that the R marker is a Japhetic marker?
Hell yeah, it's a Japhetic marker.
I can't just say an R marker is just Japan.
Okay, so listen, if the R marker, listen, hold up. If the R marker is a European marker, so it's a marker, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Exactly.
Listen to this. You have GHIJK.
There you go.
Right?
Talk to him.
Those are European markers.
Facts.
Okay? They're
Talk
not
to
Semitic
him.
markers. They're European markers.
Talk to him.
So if R is a European marker, so
Talk
is J,
to
because
this
they all have the same
nigga.
progenitor from G, which comes from F.
Mm.
So you can't sit up there and say, if you're saying that the R European marker as well. Because
his brothers.
hold on, listen. No, listen.
Wait.
No, ain't no wait, nigga. Ain't no wait, man.
That's what I'm
Ain't
about
no
to
going
do.
a
I'm
little
about to break
slower.
it
He
down.
peeling this
You
nigga.
have what you call
Hold on, let me watch. Let me turn this down, man. This nigga Yahookah. Shout out to Yahookah, man. Shout out, man. Gang, 7 gang, source gang on everything. This nigga just peeled this nigga potato back, man. This nigga just pushed this nigga wig back, man. This nigga just split this nigga cabbage. You hear me? He cracked this whole. What Nas say? Grab the whole matic. Pack a whole matic that crack your whole cabbage. This nigga that cracked this nigga cabbage, bust this shit wide open. He leaking, brother. You can't say R is Japhetic and then turn around and say J isn't and Shem when they both have the same paternal progenitor, which would be Japhet. You slow. I ain't gonna do him. I ain't gonna do him like that. But shout out to you, Hukanan. Just killed this nigga real quick. Oh,
European marker. So if you're saying that J is a Semitic marker, hold up, listen, let me finish. If you're saying that J is a Semitic marker, then you're also saying that R is a Semitic marker. And we know from what you're saying, hold up, listen. So what you're saying is that R is a European marker, then you're saying that J is a European marker. Am I lying, James?
No, hold on.
That's
Let's stop
a fact.
for a minute. Don't ask James nothing. Hold on. Now, see, the first problem he has is
ain't no problem with it, nigga. Don't try to wiggle your way out of what Yahukanan just said, bro. If R is European, J is European too. You can't get away from that, bro. Don DeMarco, bang, bang, bang. Shit like that. Yahukanan just came here and cracked this, man. Look, man, he had the whole matic and cracked this whole nigga's cabbage, man. You know how we rocking, man. Shout out to Yahukanan. He came in there and just killed that shit in like 2 seconds.
that includes Hebrew, Arabic, and Aramaic, and certain ancient languages such as Phoenician and Akkadian, constituting the main subgroup of the Afro-Asiatic family.
He's struggling to read again.
Who speak Semitic languages, especially Hebrew and Arabic. Now, the reason why I brought that out is because you have Arabics today that speak Semitic languages, right, and have Semitic names.
What the hell?
And been having these names since the ancient times, which these people are saying basically are Japhetic, you know what I'm saying? And because they have J markers. Now, I find it ironic that these people who we see have these Semitic names, right? But then when you look at the Horians,
she trying to remix
or
some
when
shit.
you look at everybody else, their names can't change. But from ancient times, these people, their names change.
That's not the argument.
This is the type of scholarship or biasness. Not even scholarship, though. This intellect.
Let me turn it on. Nigga, you the one being biased. Now he's saying, oh, well, these people could change names, yeah, over time, but this is the original root population that came from Hurrian with the Hurrian names. It's the same argument that Manfred B. Tech and David Roll and those guys make for the Asiatic names that we see and Semitic names we see in Egypt. Because the original population was there. They came and moved into Avaris, and we can see their names. They also had Egyptian names as well. So we can clearly see that they recently came in and they still had portions of their culture. Same thing with the Hurrian that we see here. We're not saying that this happened 2,000 years after the fact. This is somebody that was from that Hurrian culture that lived in that region and died and buried his peoples. That's it. Ain't no way around it, man. And G-Con trying to wiggle his way out of this shit, bro. That's why I said these niggas is not built like that. They cannot make it on the source, and this is why they afraid of this platform. Because when you get on this platform, you're going to have to really stand in the fire, bro. You're going to have to be like Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego in this bitch. You understand? Because we're going to give it to you. You're going to have to, listen, you ain't going to be able to wiggle out of nothing. We're going to bring you right back to that same point that you avoided 17,926 times. You know what I'm saying?
Right here, that these people are not Shem. That's what they telling us. But the very people that you see that is Arabic, or that speak Arabic, or people that's of Arabia, people you see this in the land today, some of those people, they tell you that they're cousins to these people and brothers to these people.
Yeah, because they got J markers too.
And you got African American. I got you. You got an African American somehow, some way, right? Is gonna tell you that they Shem, but these people is not Shem. See, that's where we got the problem coming in at, and that's what they doing here, and they're getting caught in doing it. Because if you look at what I just brought out, this brother tried to take Semitic speaking people, right? And he and then try to take them and try to say, well they J, you know what I'm saying? So these people they couldn't be us and they not Shem.
They not.
They speaking your language. You mean tell me that they can't get conquered and speak somebody else's language?
Bro, he had a Hurrian name,
what's
man.
What's going on with all of this here? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I'll explain.
Hold on.
James goes first.
Yeah.
I'll let you go.
So he's the one who just made an argument about how languages can change and languages don't matter. The brother Yehochanan made it very clear he was talking about a phylogenetic tree. He brought up the phylogenetic tree and started breaking it down. He took it to him what he meant.
Your mic is muffled.
All right. He took what he was saying to be the descendant of Shem to try to make it about a language phylum in the way the scholars classify the language phylum. That wasn't what it was about. It was about being a descendant of Shem or a descendant of Japheth in the phylogenetic tree. Again, I keep mentioning this. He's not hitting us on the crux of our argument, which is dealing with this phylogenetic tree. Because what the brother Yehochanan brought up was factually on point. When you deal with the J marker, it falls beneath CF, which is the abundance of the European markers. This is without a doubt. And this is the most ancient markers we're finding in Europe. So these have to be the sons of Japheth, unless he's saying that somebody else occupied these regions of Europe instead of the sons of Japheth. Because the evidence is in the ground. They're digging it up, they're doing the DNA test, and there's nothing you can do to get around that the J falls on beneath the CF lineages and not the DE lineages, which would be indigenous to the Near East. Those would be the Shemitic lineages, and this is according to the archaeological studies. We're not being biased by agreeing with studies, brothers. You're being biased by never reading the studies, not even knowing the studies, but then arguing against what we're saying. And I don't understand why you try to make it seem like we're trying to twist stuff. We're trying to flip stuff. We're talking about what the scientists say, brother. They're the ones that say that J go back to ancient European lineages, not us. They say that. We can find the most ancient J marker we found in burials up in Finland. Not in the Near East, not in Iran, but we do know that according to the biblical narrative, that the Medes stayed in Iran, and they descend from Japheth. So if you find one that's on the phylogenetic tree, along with the European lineages, and is in the Near East, in the land of Iran, I would suppose those are the Medes, unless the Bible is wrong. That's what it's coming down to. Either the genetics is wrong, the Bible is wrong, or Laron is wrong. But I think the other two is right. And I yield.
And wrong, partner.
And so,
white people wrong.
Hey, and can I go after this dude right here?
That's wrong.
Yeah.
I definitely want to respond to brother.
Or are you going to respond to James and then I go, or do I go?
No, he don't want to talk about these.
No, you go. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. So when it comes to Semites, it's generally believed that Semites descend from the Natufians. Now, everyone, right now, type in Natufian culture on Google, and if you push the tab, it says down below that according to Christine G. Turner II, there is archaeological and physical anthropological evidence for a relationship between modern Semitic-speaking populations of the Levant and the Natufians. Now, we all know that the Natufians only had E, and they were dominated by haplogroup E. Now, if you take your time, I want everyone to type in Eupedia. That is EUPEDIA, haplogroup E1B1B. Again, type in Eupedia. That is EUPEDIA. And again, the title is haplogroup E1B1B. If you scroll down to the section where it talks about Phoenicians, Greeks, and Roman diffusion, it says right here on this sentence that E-M34 is the main Middle Eastern variety of the E1B1B, and is thought to have arrived with the Proto-Semitic. Proto-Semitic is the first Semites. Proto means first. The Proto-Semitic people in the late Copper to early Bronze Age. The Phoenicians would have spread E-M34 to Cyprus, Sicily, Metella, Sardinia, Ismania, Isbaza. Sorry, I don't know some of these words. And southern Iberia.
Now, the brother named Brandon Israel.
Now, everyone type in basal Eurasians on Wikipedia. Basal Eurasians. When it comes to the basal Eurasians, Natufians who share chronometric affinities with ancient North Africans or sub-Saharan Africans, and were of the Y chromosome haplogroup E, which likely originated in Africa, are the basal Eurasian ancestry. And it says, skipping on down, basal Eurasians had little to possibly no Neanderthal admixture. Now, skipping down, it says high levels of basal Eurasian ancestry were found in ancient Middle Eastern genomes, which negatively correlate with Neanderthal ancestry. Basal Eurasians may have less Neanderthal ancestry than other ancestral Eurasian lineages, and the extent to which basal Eurasian ancestry is present may explain the extent to which Neanderthal is present. Neanderthal present, at least terms. And now it says, who have the great indigenous and genetic history may be descendant of Eurasians. And I'm going to say, type in from E fusion at the origin of genetic and pass. Again, type in Y chromosome E haplogroups, their distribution and implication to the origin of Afro-Asiatic languages and pastoralism. I'm going to read the
that's Mutaser. I told that's Mutaser right there.
Afro-Asiatic group carrying the EP2 mutation
EP2
may have appeared this in time. Subsequent Afro-Asiatic is English relation. Now you.
That's a fact.
Wait, so I'm confused. So you're getting your whole argument from a haploid group?
Well, no, it's pretty much
haplogroups and culture. Haplogroups, the Natufian culture, which was a Neolithic culture in the Levant, as well as the migrations and origins of people such as Asians, who are the ancestors of Easterners. Those haplogroups. I use mostly like
this brother been watching the channel, man.
Oh, you're cutting out. I can't hear you. My fault. You're cutting out. I couldn't even hear half the.
Hey, Soon King, man.
Culture, such. But where am I in the queue, guys? I would like to speak.
Oh, let me turn the volume down on Black Jesus Minister. You're gonna destroy the whole bill, bro. You don't know nothing about what they talking about. All right, Osun King, what's going on, man? What's the deal? You said, is this all based off the belief in Adam and Eve? We're not dealing with Adam and Eve right now. We basing this off of who are the sons of Noah. So this is pretty much, if you're in this paradigm and you believe these people were real people with you know, like you and I, humans, organisms, then they would have to have Y chromosomes. Now, what Y chromosomes did these people carry? If you believe in the biblical narrative, these people populated the earth after the flood, after the destruction that happened. If these people existed, they would have Y chromosomes. What Y chromosomes would these people fall into? Well, according to the narrative, these people would have been the early Medes. These people would have been the early Europeans, the early Iranians, and we know all these people have what we call CF lineages, which would make them Japhet, according to the biblical narrative. Javan being the early Greeks, they have J markers that would make them Japhet. So that's the argument that we're having, and the reason why we have this argument on this channel, you said this is a repeated debate on this channel, is because there are various opinions and ideas about who are the sons of Shem. There's this bogus J marker discussion that's been going around, the Kohen marker or what have you, and we have arguments against that. I don't know, how do you make the people with the Kohen marker the Israelites when they actually go back, their ancestry goes back to ancient Europe, which has nothing to do with Shemites. And the brother brought out a poignant article by Muntazer, which is a Sudanese geneticist, a master, okay, with his PhD, which states that the gene marker, the genetic marker of the people that started the Proto-Afro-Asiatic language group would have been EP2. Now, EP2 is the paternal clade that created E1B1A and E1B1B. So you're talking about our legacy. When I say our, I'm talking about majority of African American men here in America. Majority of us are E1B1A, and the rest of us are either E1B1B. We have small percentages of haplogroup B. I believe Chris Rock is B as well. So that's the argument that that's. I'm not really having the argument. This is an argument on the Clubhouse app. I'm letting you guys listen into it because these people are afraid to come on YouTube and stand on their swear and you know what I'm saying, let their ideas be tested. So they run the Clubhouse so they can preach their narrative with little or no resistance from a source and citation side of things. So he can get on here and say anything, but what we do is we build our models based on tangibles, based on empirical reality. So if we're talking about Shem, we're going to bring you the evidence from 2011. All right. Osun King says, okay, gotcha. This is really based off a theological narrative. Am I wrong? I'm agnostic, so I'm not coming from a religious understanding. I don't want no smoke, LOL, just seeking understanding. Well, if you want to call it a theological narrative, yes, we're following the Bible, but we're following the Bible as a historical book, which it is. It has plenty of historical elements. The people Hezekiah existed. We can ascertain the existence of the Israelite kingdom, so on and so forth. So if we're going to take it as a historical book, as we do, then these people existed, and these people have had a blood flow and had DNA, right? They would have germ cells, right? They would have sex chromosomes, Y and X chromosomes. And what we do is we build theories to answer what chromosomes these people would have, and we believe that these people would have came from the macro haplogroup DE, and then later created D and E, and then E would created many of the groups through EM96, and we believe the Israelites came through there. Reading the book as a historical book, not a mystic book, or a book of mysticism, like many people want us to read it as. We don't read the Bible as a mystic book. We read it as a historical narrative. All right, brother? So I hope I gave some clarity to you.
Not the discussion that I'm having. I'm just talking about in general, like ancient Semites. And what
that's what you.
That's a good question, though. That's a good question.
No, that's what you getting at, though.
That was a good question. That was a good question.
All right, so everybody, Laron, you're saying everybody with like J and G markers come from the Levant area?
No, basically that's an out of Africa marker right there. That J marker that we see. But Mir asked a great question that I think needs to be examined because what he's doing was that Mir to ask that question? Who asked that question? Just a minute.
Yeah, I was just saying.
I asked that question.
Okay, somebody asked the question. Does that the question that he says when it comes to what Africans have because they have E1B1A2, are they Israelites this as well too? You know what I'm saying? I think he said something.
No, I didn't.
No, I said that West Africans are majority have E1B1B haplogroup. So with that, oh, you said what, brother?
Yeah, they don't have E1B1A.
They got E1B1A.
They got E1B1A.
Yeah.
So
that's East Africans. Or
East Africans have E1B1A2.
You have it mixed up.
Copy. Okay, my fault. My fault. Okay,
Yeah,
so what I'm saying is
this is what we be talking about. Niggas don't be knowing what the hell they talking about.
Just because they share the same the haplogroup, right? Would you say that they are all descendants of Hebrew Israelites?
No.
Okay, so what is right?
Now let
what
James
is African
answer.
Americans haplogroup?
We have E-M2. That's just
E1B1A. And who said that? Demonte, what did you say?
No, I didn't say anything, but
okay, who said that?
They are different. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, so African Americans have different haplogroups, but majority of African Americans have, from my studies, they have E1B1A.
So E1B1A means that E1B1A, let me see if I got this right. E1B1A will prove that they're from West Africa?
Not necessarily. Okay, so what you have to understand about haplogroups. You're echoing. Okay.
No, you good. You're not echoing. You're good.
Okay, so what you have to understand about haplogroups, like I said, it deals with the father line.
Yeah, African Americans are mixed, but majority of us, they say about a 60% clip of us is E1B1A. The other 40% E1B1B, and then you got like a small percentage of A and B, and then the other big group is like what 25% of us is R, which is that Western European clade. And a lot of people will say, well, that's because the slave master had sex with the servant, with their slaves, the female slaves, and then created babies that proliferated society. So they say about 25, they estimate about 25% of us have R markers. You know, me, myself, I'm an EU290. I come from E. But the brother said, does that prove that they come from West Africa? But here's another thing about West Africa. Also, I don't know how long you've been watching this, but West Africa wasn't inhabited like that until 4,500 years ago. So a lot of people put our origin, our genesis in there. There's no tangible evidence, no empirical evidence on that. No one can prove that we came from West Africa genetically. But what we do see is that place wasn't inhabited into the green, what we call the green Sahara, because the Sahara was full of pluvial deposits, which are rain pools, a lot of water, a lot of monsoons. It was greenery. It was a lot of vegetation, and it was thick vegetation there. So it was hard to even traverse deep down and past the Sahara into what we call the Sahel now, into Western Africa. So there was no major groups of people there. And the oldest DNA evidence that we have there is not related to us. Majority of us are E1B1A. Majority of us have E markers. The oldest DNA we found in Western Sub-Saharan Africa and Cameroon is where they found it, right? Shamkuna. You can look this up. It's haplogroup A and haplogroup B. E was not there. Okay. Our haplogroup was not there. We're not from Western Sub-Saharan Africa, but you have many proponents of like the pro-African movement, African conscious movements that will sit here and say that Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa rather, is our homeland and our point of we had our genesis there. No, we did not. there's evidence of E1B1A. Man, I'm repeating myself because many people have seen and heard me make these arguments on here, but I'm sure that you're new to this. So we have found E1B1A in France. You understand? We have the DNA, ancient DNA being in France, older than any E1B1A we found in Africa. We find it in the BMAC culture, which is around Syria, Turkmenistan, and Iraq, right? We find it in Corsica, which is an island outside of Italy 7,000 years ago. So again, they push this narrative about us being trapped as a static ethnic group in sub-Saharan Africa. There's no evidence for it. We didn't start inhabiting sub-Saharan Africa until about 4,500 years ago. That's when we started creating metapopulations. And then you really don't see us moving into sub-Saharan Africa until about 3,000, 2,500 years ago and 1,500 years ago. And how do we know that? We know that through the fact that you can look all this stuff up. David Reich, there's plenty of geneticists that have done the research on this. Metallurgy doesn't get into Nigeria until 2,500 years ago. Why is that important? Who was the people that bring in metallurgy? The Bantu expansion. So we can track these people's movement by the technology, the pyrotechnology that these people had with them. We can see them when they go into Nigeria. We can see them when they go to sub-Saharan Africa, deep south, the deep south of Africa. We can see when we get there because we can see the remnants of their technology and when they start to spread agriculture. All right, so.
Attention to, because this is in lineage, it's something that's very hard to grasp, especially if it's going back dating to that time, right? So how do people get to that?
Well, I think y'all are kind of putting it in a perspective that's not really necessary, because I don't think it's about specifically picking out who is who. I mean, the Most High is going to separate the wheat from the tares. I think the main thing we're focused on is reaching out to people that we think could possibly be Israelites, bringing them into the fold, getting them back doing the things we think need to be done necessarily for the Most High.
I want to hear the brother, but he has to fix his mind. We can't hear him down here. I just want to say that we want to hear you, but you really muffled, brother.
Yeah, you are kind of muffled. James, you're muffled. You have something on your face or something?
It might be your phone case. You might need to take it out.
It might be the phone case.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it is.
Hey, I wanted to ask this mere question too. When you do a DNA test, that's more like population genetics. It's not gonna necessarily tell you basically what country you came from. A lot of the, put it like this, a lot of like somebody will say, well, E1, B1A or the E haplogroup, it originated in Africa. That's a theory.
Right.
And there's other genetic arguments that say that E actually might have evolved or originated in India. And
that's
what it is,
yep.
So what it is a DE, okay? So you have the haplogroup DE. And so what some geneticists are saying is that E split off from D in like South Asia, around India, and then came back into the Middle East. And there are scientific studies that actually proves that. So I don't think that E is originated in Africa. I don't believe that. It's
considered Eurasian.
Right. It's a Eurasian haplotype, and there's proof of it. You even have the multi-man who's supposed to be the oldest body that they found so far, and he had Eurasian admixtures.
Copy, that makes sense.
And those are the basal Eurasians you can look into. Basal Eurasians were an ancient Middle Eastern population with haplogroup E, and they're the ancestors of ancient Middle Easterners. You can look that up on Wikipedia right now. Basal Eurasians.
And you see some of the Ashkenazis have the E haplogroup. And here's the thing: when you look into the Samaritan Jews, right? Their priests have E1B1B, and that's their priest.
Yeah, the Kohanim Samaritans do have E. Yep, they have E-M7.
Yeah, but that Kohanim gene is BS. You cannot trust that. That's just
no. The other one, the other Kohanim, the one.
No, I'm just saying the Kohen gene, anything period is BS. I can disprove that because it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't line up with the biblical text.
They hate that J1C3.
No. Hold up. See, this is the thing. Hold up. How's J1? See, this way doesn't make any sense. How's the choanine gene in 8 different haplotypes if the Levitical priesthood is supposed to be passed down from father to son?
That's a good
question. Cannot. I repeat, a haplotype only comes from the father side on the paternal side. So there's no way that you have the choanine gene in the R1B, the R1A, and the G, and the H. You also have it in the I, you have it in the J, and you also have it in the E haplogroup. That doesn't the biblical text, and it doesn't even make scientific sense. That's why I'm telling you, if you're trying to go with the choanine argument, you're gonna lose. And then let's roll with the choanine argument. The E1B1B will win the argument because E1B1B is older than J. So how did J get it if E had it? Doesn't make any sense. It does not. Hold on, listen. Let me finish. See, this is what I'm saying. Let me finish. It doesn't line up with the phylogenetic tree. J has never, ever originated nowhere down the line from E. Doesn't make any sense.
Right. So what we saying is, and what they say is that among the Kohen, the priests, right? Kohen just mean priests. If they have this J1C3 marker among these different groups of these Jews, you know what I'm saying? And what they did was they looked at the amount of change that we see, mutation that we see of this J1C3 marker, and they calculated it. I guess they used a molecular clock. They calculated it. It went back out some 3,500 years. You know what I'm saying? So
my question to you would be this.
My
question is to you,
3,000 years. Hold on.
My bad.
So,
okay, go ahead.
So it's not odd to see it. We're not saying that this is just a marker that we see this among just those who are among the Kohen, because we see that people in Arabia also have this marker.
That kills your argument.
And so the main thing is this is also a marker that we see that is among Limba Jews.
Hold on real quick. He just killed his whole argument, because if this is the Kohen gene, which came from the Levites, because he's trying to get around that, they're saying it came from the Levitical priesthood, the Levites, that is transmitted through Y-DNA, which is from father to son, then we shouldn't see this amongst other groups. You shouldn't see it because only Levites have it, unless you're going to call everybody with this group a Levite. Then it's not going to make sense. Another argument for the Ashkenazi. The Ashkenazi is a hodgepodge of different groups. You got G, you got K, you got E amongst the Ashkenazi Jews. But this brother's dancing around that, man. But anyway, I want to share some, because we got Osun in the building, about the food producers and when we came into Africa, and we can actually date that. It wasn't fucking 50,000 years ago or anything like that. So let me share my screen. When we came and started spreading agriculture and pretty much shook up Africa, took over, dominated sub-Saharan Africa, displaced many of the autochthonists, meaning the original people of Africa. Right here says, but learning up, this is who we are and how we got here, Ancient DNA by David Reich, page number 276 to 278. It says, but learning about Africa's deep past from today's populations is extremely challenging because while much of the ancient variation still exists in people alive today, it is all mixed up. So again, so for people that use modern density, population density to make arguments, that doesn't tell you anything about the past. In order to learn about the past, you need ancient DNA samples. You can't just say, well, majority of the people in Nigeria are E1B1A, so that's where they come from. That's not how it works. Famines happen. People migrate. Wars happen. People are not static. You understand? People move around. Look where we at right now. We in America because of a slave trade. So this ideology of people sit in one area for 40,000 years and don't move, don't trade, don't migrate, don't intermix, no culturation, no inculturation, nothing happens. Like, that is idiocy, and that is not reflected in reality at all. So let's read on. It says the most recent mixing of populations occurred in the last few thousand years. What is he talking about mixing the population? He's talking about E1B1A and E1B1B mixing amongst haplogroup A and haplogroup B. These are the Paleo-African groups. These are the Paleo-African groups. These were the autochthonous African groups. But a foreign group came in and started to mix, eliminate, and assimilate with these people. This is the history that these pro-African conscious community leaders won't tell you. They don't even know it themselves. They think all of Africa is the same. Every African ethnic group is the same. That's a damn lie. All right. When our ancestors came in, we dominated Africa. We took over because we had better technology, and we had a better understanding and a better base, which was based on agrarian lifestyles, which is agriculture. Which agriculture is always going to be the hunter-gatherer, because agriculturists can make a surplus of food. When you're hunter-gathering, you cannot make a surplus of food. You have to continue to hunt and gather, which gave us an advantage, because once you can make a surplus of food, you can focus on other things like technology, scientific advancements, construction, school, writing, learning. That's why language came through us. Pro-Afro-Asiatic languages came through us because we were agriculturalists and we can focus on making a language. But when you're a hunter-gatherer, you spend majority of your time trying to survive, trying to eat to survive. All right. So the most recent mixing of populations occurred in the last few thousand years due to at least 4 great expansions, all of which are associated with the spread of language groups, and most of which have been driven by the spread of agriculturalists. These expansions have thrown a veil over the African past, and many of these people are arguing from the veil. We go, well, haplogroup E's in Africa now, so they always have been. That's not true. Came in, we took over, we dominated, and now we're the lion's share. We own the lion's share of males in Africa due to this event that happened a couple thousand years ago. Not 10,000 years ago, not 20. This happened a couple thousand years ago. These expansions have thrown a veil over the African past, moving populations thousands of kilometers from their places of origin, where they displaced or mixed with populations that were widespread before. In this respect, the study of African populations is no different from the study of Eurasian ones, which have also turned over in the last several thousand years. The agriculturalist expansion that had the greatest impact on Africa is the one associated with the people who speak the language of the Bantu family. Archaeological studies have documented how beginning around 4,000 years ago, a new culture spread out of the region in the border of Nigeria and Cameroon in West Central Africa. People from the culture lived at the boundary of the forest and expanding savanna and developed a highly productive set of crops that was capable of supporting dense populations. This is the importance of knowing the importance of agriculturalists in agrarian society. Once you can make surplus food, you can support dense populations. Now we outnumbering our neighbors. We outnumbering the hunter-gatherers because they can't support dense populations. They're dying off. You understand? Because they can't feed that many. You can't reproduce. And the more mouths you make, the more people you got to feed. And if you can't support enough food for them, you're going to starve. You're going to die out. Okay? It says now this is where we get the timestamp. By about 2,500 years ago. What's 2,500 years from now? That's 500 BCE, before the Common Era. By 2,500 years ago, they had spread as far as Lake Victoria in Eastern Africa and mastered iron tool making technology. Now we know iron tool making technology is not indigenous to Africa. Where do we see the pyro technology, iron technology come from? Eurasia. That's where it came from. Eurasia. This is why we argue that this is a demic diffusion of people coming from Eurasia into Africa with the pyro technology, because you don't just stumble across that. You have to learn that. It's a very difficult thing to learn and process, but these Bantus had that information, had that technology and know-how. And by around 1700 years ago, they had reached Southern Africa. So we reached Southern Africa just 1700 years ago. Not 10,000 years ago, 1700 years ago. What's 1700 years from now? Bro, that's 300. That's 300 AD. We teach over here, man, because we read and we digest and disseminate information, something that the other people on the other side of the aisle do not do. They don't care about this. They're dilettantes. So we reached Southern Africa just 1700 years ago in historical times, 300 AD or 300 CE in the Common Era. Come on, man. What are you guys talking about? That all these people trying to say, "Oh, we Africa, Africa, Africa." That's not true. The evidence does not show that. The consequence of this expansion is that the great majority of people in Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa speak Bantu languages, which are most diverse today in present-day Cameroon, consistent with the theory that Proto-Bantu languages originated there and were spread by culture that also expanded from there around 4,000 years ago. All right? But here's the thing about that. What are these people carrying with them? These people are carrying with them a Western Eurasian technology, with iron technology. We see the glass beads. In order to make glass beads, you have to have an understanding and grasp of pyrotechnology. To understand how to do iron metallurgy, you have to have pyrotechnology. All of these things come from where? Western Eurasia. They had the humpback cattle with them. Where does that come? Western Eurasia. The chicken, Southwest Asia. Coconut, Southwest Asia. Watermelon. These things are not indigenous to Africa. These people brought it to Africa. But this is consistent with what the Suniki people tell you. The Suniki people tell you that, hey, we come from an ancestor that came from what we call today the Middle East. When we going to start believing in oral testimony? It's lining up with what we're seeing with the material culture. And again, you don't start seeing these groups about 4,000 years ago, man. People with this 10,000 year stuff, 20,000 year stuff don't know what the hell they talking about. All right. Hey, shout out to P. Hey, man, my bro, Don Shotter, man. The Don Dada, the best shotter. They dilettantes, bro. They don't care about the comments. I mean, they don't care about the contents. They don't want to care. They don't care about studying and actually knowing what the F they talking about, bro. You know how it go, man. These Negroes don't give a damn about science. They don't give a damn about history. They just hear us talking about it. Then they come with what? They come with ad hoc, post hoc fallacies. They'll hear you say anything. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll make up an argument right there in their head. Not based on studying, not based on methodology or research, bro. That's what these dudes do. And that's why I love the platform we have here. Because what we do, we throw the source right on the screen and read directly from the source. Ain't nothing you can say about that, man. Ain't nothing you can say about that at all. Yeah, exactly. Killing pygmies, the Khoisan, the early what we call Cushitic, those early Cushitic people. Yeah, everybody in Africa ain't the same, man. Y'all here arguing in the comments, bro. I'll tell you what's going on.
111 genetic markers. So, I mean, ancestry, African ancestry, but going the price that they're asking for to pay $200-$300, and they only give you 12 markers. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, that's why I'm sitting up here listening to y'all, and it sounds like all this, like knowing your little group, and it sounds like all this is basically a theory that you can't prove nothing from it.
It's not a
That's what it sounds like. It's just a theory.
It's based on science and data, brother. This ain't a theory. These are facts of science. We're just bring it.
All right, well, if it's facts, right? All right, if it's facts, why you can't tell me exactly where I'm from?
That's why I kind of disagree with Demonte because
the brother said I asked him, I said, so according to my haplogroup or whatever, right? These tests should be able to point me to a direct area where a tribe descends from, which means I should be from that tribe. Wait, listen. Which means I should be from that tribe. But then a brother said, if you E1B1A and a West African is E1B1A, that don't mean you're related.
No, that brother was wrong.
No, not you. That was the brother Mir, right? Well, then when Mir said it, no. When he said it, and y'all basically agree with it. I'm gonna tell you how I know you agree with it.
About that, we disagree with it.
But when I asked you the question, I said, well, let me tell you how I know you agree with it. Because I said, if I'm E1B1A and the West African is E1B1A, you're telling me there's possibility that we can't be related. Y'all said true. So I said, how can I find out who I am? How can I find out? How can I find out which one of us could possibly be an Israelite? Y'all went into another DNA, right? I said, you have to check.
See, the question you asked is, no, this is what you asked. You said, does everybody who has E1B1A or whatever, are they Israelites? We said no. But
I asked three different questions. That was one of the questions. Okay. That was one of the questions, Jamal. That was one of them. But then I asked,
and then we can answer.
This is what they said. If you got the same haplogroup.
No, I'm not arguing. I'm just trying to understand.
Hold on, real quick. Let me turn this down real quick. I'm gonna turn it back on. I promise y'all. But you know how I am, man. I'm on my brainiac mode right now. The brain fluids and the neurological pathways are open. This brother said basically what y'all saying is a theory, and it is a theory. But here's the problem: y'all didn't have problem with theories until we started utilizing it as a tool to create our models. Now it's an issue. Oh, they're using theories, but y'all been using theories this whole time. Everything y'all refer to, if you believe in Darwinian evolution, that's a damn theory. That's a damn theory. They use circumstantial evidence to build that claim. There is no direct evidence of us coming from no damn ape-like ancestor. That's a theory. And just because something's a theory doesn't make it automatically false. It just means that there is no direct evidence for it. So therefore you have to theorize about stuff, form hypotheses, and try to find evidence to support your hypothesis. That's all. So I just find it strange because in this African conscious community, which Laron is really backdooring with, really Laron should be making videos about the Exodus and making groups about the Exodus, because Garfield just made a book attacking the Exodus. The book says the misconceptions of the Black Hebrew Israelites, but really he fighting and arguing against the credibility of the Bible, which Laron say he believe in. Is Laron on Clubhouse going hard on Garfield? Nah, he focusing on us. So when y'all see us clap at these dudes, just understand it's the reason why we clapping at them. He focusing on the Israelites. Your whole time is you trying to substantiate other people and try to down us at the same time. It don't work like that, buddy. You're going to get clapped at over here. But you Negroes was fine and dandy with theories. Y'all was fine and dandy with science. Y'all was fine and dandy with DNA. Where the DNA at? Until we start tapping into these fields and started, getting the literature and getting the understanding and the acumen and the skill to actually break this stuff down. Now y'all got a problem with theories. Y'all got a problem with science. Y'all got a problem with DNA. Y'all got a problem with genetic markers. You Negroes is frauds. You Negroes is frauds, man. Because at first y'all was saying we don't deal with these things and we don't deal with these aspects. But as soon as we start dealing with these aspects and making strong arguments, now, that just sounds like a theory. We can't. How can we use science? Like, bro, what the hell? Facts, chemo, anything them niggas say that, because they don't even do it. We can't even say anything y'all do because they don't even do scientific research and methodology. They don't do it, bro. But when y'all said it, we dug into it and we learned how to discern it. And we started kicking y'all ass to the point now you're saying you can't use science to prove the Bible, but you got a whole group of individuals that are scientists that use science to prove the Bible. You have the creationists and you have the ID components, the intelligent design components, the teleological argument. You understand? The cosmological argument and the moral argument. These are all scientific arguments for God and what the Bible states. You guys just don't like the fact that your weak ass arguments don't stand a chance here at the source. You get beat up on over here. And that's video. Laron has been on this platform several times, and every time he got here, he got his muffin pushed in, man. He got his cabbage split. That's what these brothers do. They get their ass whooped and they run to Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? So they can find a new audience to preach to and try to make proselytes. But Axel run this shit. Why don't you focus on the man that's trying to tear down the biblical narrative right now? Where's your videos about proving the Exodus? Where's your videos combating anything that this African conscious community has been spewing out? You focused on us so damn much. You understand? You focused on what we got going on and how we formulate our arguments and what we believe in so much. You Negroes will team up with Garfield. I seen you niggas team up with Garfield there, man. I seen y'all do it. It be the Christians over there teaming up with Garfield when the whole time Garfield is saying the Bible's fake, nothing's real about it, the Exodus never happened. Last time I checked, I thought y'all believed in the Bible, or do you? Sometimes I can't tell.
If it's matching up with the prophecy, you're saying that these people that's matching up with the prophecy are Israelites.
No, you ain't hearing me, bro. You're straw manning me, brother.
How am I straw manning? That's what it sounds like to me.
Listen.
Which branch of E are we talking about?
Listen, you have different subclades. Thank you, Hebrew. You have different subclades. That's why I'm telling you.
Okay.
That's why I'm trying to tell you. Not everybody who has the paternal marker of an E or L doesn't necessarily. You have different subclades, my brother.
Okay, so what subclade you believe are Israelites? That's what I'm asking. What specifically marker you believe? You can't tell, right?
Israelites would have run too many times to try to narrow it down to a certain subclade. It's been thousands.
That's what I'm asking.
The original, you know what I'm saying? It's been thousands of years since the original Israelite population. So their descendants would have branched so many times to say which one in particular isn't a question that you can answer, because it's going to be many, because it's branched many times.
So why would he make that? Why would he make that statement though? That's why he got me lost.
No,
like, why would you say that? This is what you said. You said, all right. Can you say what you just said about the marker and the prophecy?
I said those markers matches up with prophecy is all I'm saying, as far as the being scattered.
Oh, okay. My bad. I heard. Okay, I got you.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. All right, my bad. I misunderstood you. My fault, bro.
Yeah, and
I got you.
You can't knock me into that because I don't even deal with the prophecy. I just wait till whatever happens. So.
No, my bad, Jamante. I understand what you're saying now. My fault.
Boy, you ain't playing tonight, god doggone Manny.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand, because listen, if you don't understand, you will ask the best questions, right?
Correct.
So I feel like I don't know what they're talking about, right? But it's very interesting, and I'm enjoying the topic, and that's why everybody's still in here, because they like what they're saying. So I have to represent everybody that don't know what they're talking about. So I have to ask these kind of questions, not just for me, but for people that's down there in the audience, so they can understand and follow where they're getting to, right? Because I'm pretty sure they have these same questions that I'm asking to try to understand what the hell is going on, right?
By the way,
I mean, basically, basically we're going to all these different markers, and the E marker is basically from here. This marker is basically from here. Then I asked what the African Americans have. They say E1B1A. The majority of the African Americans is E1B1A. Then the majority of West Africans is E1B1A also. Is that true?
Certain groups, because you still have
certain groups.
You still have A in West Africa.
It's still the majority, though.
Yeah, the majority, correct. So that basically means that basically means that the African Americans over here with E1B1A and the African Americans over there in West Africa, not the African Americans, the West Africans, right, with E1B1A, they're related some kind of way. True?
Yeah, they share common.
I'm following you. All right, so you're following me. Okay. All right, cool. So is it true that they could be big? Well, they're related on father side or mother side, basically, right? But we can't pinpoint exactly what tribe that they're from. That's what you're saying.
Well, you can't pinpoint which tribe is what from. Like, are you saying that? Like, we know what our Yoruba is. You know, I mean.
No, all right. Let's say. All right. Let me give you an example, right? Let's say I'm E1B1A, right? Follow me. And let's say in West African is E1B1A, right? But he's from the Igbo tribe, right? We know we're related some kind of way, right? But that don't mean that I'm from the Igbo tribe, right?
Right. That's why I said take the ancestry test to know which tribe you come from.
That's what I'm at. That's what I'm getting at.
I know some people disagree with it, but that's just
but DeMonte says that's just a hustle because they only give you 12 markers, right?
Yeah, well, I said it's not worth the money that they ask for because they ask for a lot of money, and so
it is expensive though.
12 markers,
$500,
right? And you go to 23andMe and pay like $100, and you get like 26 markers. Or if you go to you go to Family Tree DNA, and you could pay like $400, and you get more markers, meaning that they go more deeper into the ancestry.
And so what test did you
that's just my
no, I'm asking DeMonte, what test, if I wanted to find out exactly what tribe I was from, what test would you recommend?
I recommend 2 tests. Listen, this is what I recommend. You take 2 tests. Now, you take 23andMe for $100. And then when you get your data back, take your 23andMe and take it to GEDmatch. When you take it to GEDmatch, I'm gonna tell you why you do this. 23andMe is only going to give you regions. It's going to give you like North Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa. It's going to give you Europe. It's going to give you maybe Middle East or whatever, right? But it's not going to let you know specifically what population group you belong to. So when you take your raw data and take it to GEDmatch, because GEDmatch database is bigger, they actually have DNA from the Yoruba, from the Fulani. They have DNA from different set of Jews. They have DNA from Indian people. They have a big database. So when you put it in, you look at your affirmities, right? How distant you are, and it's going to let you know the populations who you share DNA with. So it'll narrow down. It'll give you the specific tribes that you actually share DNA.
It'll be more accurate. I got you.
But you need to use a specific one. So let me tell you the
DotaCat. I'm gonna tell you like this. DotaCat is probably for African American. DotaCat is probably the best. But also, what you could do is when you go into the search, the origin search, type in Afro American, and they'll give you a set of calculators to try. But from what I see for us as Black folks, DotaCat is the best to take.
There's also EthioHex, Africa only. And
but they only have like 12 populations in EthioHelix, though. They don't have that many populations.
I mean, I feel like they have a good
This is the thing. DotaCat really deals with the world. EthioHelix only have like 12 populations.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's
right,
really
but you're trying to connect to the specific African tribes.
Right. Yes. That's why I recommend African Americans to do DotaCat.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll agree with you, Dante. Use DotaCat, but just as a back burner. Also use EthioHex Africa only and put K8 Africa only just as a back burner. Because
this is the thing. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. When I used those, I came out with the same. I connected basically to the same people from my African ancestry, and that's like North African populations and Fulani.
But see, when I did DotaCat, right, the distance I was more closer, and in distance I was getting distances of 0 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now with EthioHelix, I was getting distances from like 14 and 20 and 60. So for me, Doda Cat was more accurate because when you start looking at those distances, those are more by generations.
Yeah. But good question. The real.
Hey, you know y'all need to watch out for? My brother Yeshua right down there in the audience. That dude's bad, man.
He blew my cover.
Hey, but you know what's interesting is because what the brother did.
I'm chilling in the cut.
You talking about you showed that nigga pseudo just like the rest of these niggas up. Come on, man.
Hey, I tell you what. Hey, listen, hold on. I tell you what, Laron. Hey, I've been studying DNA from 2 genetic scientists. Plus, my homegirl who mentors me, she is a geneticist from Johns Hopkins, and I guarantee you. You don't want to debate me in DNA.
Hey, she got a biasness.
Rip you apart. No, she don't have a biasness. Yes, she's Japanese. Hold on, listen. She's Japanese, bruh. Like, let me ask you a question, Laron.
I'm gonna send my DNA to you, bro. You gotta tell me where I'm from.
Laron, let me ask you a question.
Stop. Let me say this real quick. While you trying to talk over me and cut me off. And listen, bring pseudo scholar your show the Danite up here. But anyways, one of the things that I noticed that they try to dismiss early on, if y'all don't really see what they tried to do, was the brother Hebrew, right? What he tried to do was, I seen him what he kept trying to do. He tried to make it to where he tried to dismiss the Canaanites.
Hold on, y'all.
You really can't really deal with the Canaanites like that because of, well, really, when you look at
dismiss them in what way?
It's on Clubhouse. It's Black Hebrew Israelites Hate Africans is the name of the group. You hear me, brother? Pro Rizzo, it's Black Hebrew Israelites Hate Africans. That's the name of the group.
Right. Yeah, Canaan, he comes from Ham, right? And then he talks about, well, these Canaanites, you know what I'm saying, that they found, they had these Horian, names and stuff like that. But in the very article, it says that they spoke a Semitic language. They spoke Semitic
non-Semitic.
Language. So even
non-Semitic. Keep that.
It says. Hold on. It says they spoke. Most Canaanites spoke what you call Western Semitic.
No. I mean that study that I showed you about the Megiddo king had a non-Semitic
Hey,
name.
hey, Laron, can I be heard?
Hold on. This is
Laron, can you hear me?
Where is it at? Let me pull this out real quick. This is
I thought I was in the group.
The Canaanites spoke a Semitic language and were long thought to derive from earlier.
Go out the group. Go back in. Nah, he didn't call me out. He just tried to, you know how they do, name call. He didn't call me out because he know damn well every time I say that's debated, I'm not a debater. Man, shut up. What the fuck are we talking about, Daddy? You don't want to debate. Scary ass nigga. There I am.
The Bible Canaanite lives on in modern Arabs and Jews. DNA from the Bible's Canaanites lives on in modern Arabs and Jews. So, So this is published May 28, 2020. You know what I'm saying? So look what it says. If you go right here, go down right here. It says.
That one also mentions the Hurrians too, though, and it even mentions the Korax culture.
Right. So, but I want to just pull out something.
What you gonna pull out, Laron? Laron, what you gonna pull out? Something that's gonna bust you upside the head like you always do? Something that's gonna bust you up. Let me ask you something. So the Canaanite burial. Wait. Stop, Laron. Let me ask you. No, you said my name, bro. Laron, you said my name. Of course you're gonna do that, bro. You said my name. So let me say this.
I'm gonna bring him back up.
No, you're not, Laron. You said my name, bro. Let me get these 2 words in.
That's ridiculous, yo.
You ridiculous, brother, because you said my name and invoked me, and then when I was in the back chilling.
From earlier populations that settled in the region thousands of years before.
All right, you see what happened, man.
Archaeologists have archaeologists have puzzled over red and black.
You see what happened, man? And this nigga gonna say my name, talk shit. Then when I get on there and get ready to bust this nigga head wide open. Oh no, you gotta wait. No, ain't no wait, nigga. You said my name. I was in this bitch for 2 hours.
Yeah. So it says historians also have noted that many Canaanite names derive from Hurrian, a non-Semitic language originating in the Caucasus. So now we see that they speak what you see is a Semitic language, right?
Yeah, they speak Semitic language, but their names are originally not.
But they have Hurrian names, a non-Semitic language originating in the Caucasus, right? It says So look what it says.
Hold on, let me address this goofy real quick. Whoever this nigga is, I don't know who it is because it just comes up at Facebook using. I don't know why you niggas watch the channel. This nigga said, as long as the Bible is y'all source, you're going to lose. Here's the thing. Whoever you are, I don't know who you are. You could easily, matter of fact, I'm going to do you one better. Watch this. I'm going to put the link in here. Come on here and explain yourself, bro. Explain yourself. A lot of your niggas, like, again, y'all all cap, man. Bring your ass on here and let's talk about it. He said, as long as the Bible y'all source, you're going to lose. Why did you watching this? You want to debate it? We can debate it. Let's set up a debate. 3 rounds. I'm going to kick your teeth in. All right? A lot of you guys are keyboard warriors, man. Hey, Pro Rizzo, my brother. I just tried to address Laron after he said my name, bro. I was in this video, in this chat room for 2 hours, chilling, doing my video on here with y'all, chopping it up. And when I tried to go in there and address what he said about me, the brother, I got 2 words in. But ain't no finish, nigga. You know your ass is grass, man. Scary ass niggas, man. Amir Black said the term Yoruba is even a Hausa word. What are y'all talking about? Danny says, nice source, Ahaya. There's also ancient Hebrew within the Yoruba language that's not found in Arabic. What's the argument? What are y'all arguing about? He said, where is you mean Ahaya be praised source? Let me see. What's the Yoruba language? A Bantu language. Sniger Congo. What are you brothers talking about? Well, Ahaya was invoking their oral tradition of them coming from Arabia. Yeah, that's what he's saying. The migration history of Yoruba states they migrated from Arabia, then to Canaan, through Egypt, then to Ife, where they settled. But wherever they stopped, they left members of their people. Excuse my language. What is not Bantu, Amir? Study relationship between Arabic and so this is the source y'all talking about. Study a relationship between Arabic and Yoruba languages. All right, let me turn this back up, man. I'm trying to figure out.
I have another one, but I'll just give you that one for now.
Right. So as I just said, Esau as your West Jordanians, but we all will agree that Esau is Esau dwells in Arabia, so therefore he's an Arabian. So that's what we look with that. Moab, Ammon, all of these.
I'm using modern country names, though.
Right. I mean, that's exactly what I just did. Right. So that's exactly what I did.
Back then, it wouldn't be called Arabia. I mean, back then it wouldn't be called Jordan, but I'm using the modern.
Right. So I understand it. So I'm saying it's Arabia. It don't matter. It's still Arabia.
Yeah.
So
just clarify.
So what I'm saying is this is, we know that these fellas mixed in with each other, and so then when you look at your modern day Canaanites today, right? Your Canaanites that you're gonna see, as I stated before, it has 93% of them has been sequenced of these Lebanese people with these bones that they found back in 3,000 years ago, 35, 3,000, whatever the case may be. So what y'all would say is, y'all gonna say basically, are you saying that these are mainly Japhetic people, or who is these people? Who would you say that they is?
Okay, so who I would say.
Well, here's the thing: Laron keeps choking on his own fucking source. He keeps running to this genetic article about them finding J markers in a Canaanite burial site. Here's the problem with that: it's a Canaanite burial site. So, are you saying? What are you saying? Are you saying that these are Canaanites from the Bible that came from the son of Canaan? If you're saying that, then you're saying they're Ham. If you're trying to say, oh no, these were Jews in the Canaanite burial, prove it. There's no proof that these were Jews there. So that's the conundrum that he's having. These are just the effects of an introgression of foreign peoples in that land during that time. That's all it is. And that's why this nigga don't want me to say nothing on that.
Yes, and I can tell you why.
All right, so I'm gonna mute my mic. So we know you just did. So basically, can you biblically prove that though?
Right.
Yeah, I can. I know that sounds a little bit strange.
That sounds strange.
Let me pull up a book.
So basically what's going on here while you grab that book, his arguments is not based upon the biblical text. His arguments is based upon something else. I got you. So and the reason why I say that,
a lot of things that I say are going to be new to some Hebrew Israelites. So and I know I don't share a position with a lot of people.
Man, I was with you till just then.
Right.
All right, so let me read this real quick in Genesis 10. Real quick. Look what it says. Hold on, let me read this just real quick so we can get clear. Yeah, I know I got you up in but I want to make sure that we get a scripture basis before he starts.
Look what Laron about to say. He's gonna go to Canaan.
It says here. It says out of the land. It's just 10:11. Out of that land went forth Ashur and built Nineveh and the city of Rehoboth and Calneh and Reason. Between Nineveh and Calneh, same as a great city. And Mizraim begot Ludio,
right?
And Anemiel and Lahabiel, and Natufiel, and Pastrumiel, and Casunium, out of whom came Philistia, which is your Philistines, and Cathor.
This nigga suck at reading.
It says, and Canaan begot Sidon, his firstborn. Watch this. And Heth, which whom come your Hittites, Canaan, you know what I'm saying? And the Jebusites,
told you.
The Amorites, and the Gergesites.
So if there was a Canaan of Ham, that would mean the J marker is Hamitic, not Shemitic, you dumbass.
The Hamatite. And afterwards, the families of the Canaanites spread abroad. Watch this. The border of the Canaanites were from Sidon, and those that comest to Gerar unto Gaza, as though thou that goest to Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah, and Zubian, even unto Lasha. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this out is because I want a child to take note on something. Now, when you look at this text, I want y'all to take note on where these sons of Ham come from, right? Are these ones that we see who is basically dealing with
Let me back in this bitch.
Cush and all of them, and with Canaan.
Yo,
So where they dwelling is at, so y'all can understand what's going on here. Where they dwelling is at. You geographically map this, because these Canaanites that they sequence basically are said to have come, been in this area for a long time. At the same time that Israel would have been fighting against these very people, you know what I'm saying, coming up out of Egypt, you know what I'm saying, just to mention that. So take note of that, because this brother just told y'all it clearly that these Canaanites are Japheth, you know what I'm saying.
So are you saying they Hamites?
So what he said is very good. I'm glad he read that verse. Keep all those Canaanite tribes' names in mind. And I'm going to first read you this book, and then I'm going to read you another verse. So y'all need to look into this book. You can get it. You can buy it on Amazon, or you can look at there might be a PDF, but you can also go to Google Books. It's called Canaan and Israel. What? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, is this book that you're presenting, is this a source? Is this a commentary?
It's from a biblical scholar, yes.
Okay.
And so the book is called Canaan and Israel in Antiquity, 2nd edition, by K.L. Knoll. Again, that is Canaan and Israel in Antiquity by K.L. Knoll. And while y'all look that book up, you can go and to page. I have the page number. I'll give you the paragraph and the sentence, and then y'all can look it up that way. I'm going to get the page number in a minute. But in the book it says, the ancient label Canaan was not an ethnic designation or a means of personal identity. In the ancient texts, Canaan was a geographic term designating very roughly, the eastern shore of the Mediterranean Sea. As a result, many ancient documents define a Canaanite as anyone who lived in the land of Canaan, regardless of ethnic origin.
So what I'm trying to tell this nigga is introgression, man.
There are Canaanite tribes mentioned in Genesis that do not connect to the people of Canaan in the book of Genesis 10 that Lamar just read. Let me give you an example. In Genesis chapter 15, verse 18 through 21, it says, on that day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying, to your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates. The Kenites, the Kenizzites, the Cadmonites, by the way, none of these people, those three people I named right there, none of them are in Genesis 10 for the lineage of Canaan. And also the Hittites, the Perizzites are another people not mentioned in Genesis 10 as being sons of Canaan. The Rephaim, the Amorites, the Canaanites, that's kind of weird. It mentions the Canaanites with these other groups. The Girgashites, I believe, are another group not mentioned in Genesis 10. And the Jebusites. So, there are groups in Canaan that do not descend from the so-called line of Canaan in Genesis 10. And historians know that Canaanite was a general term for people that lived in the land of Canaan. A Moabite can be considered a Canaanite, but we know Moabites don't descend from Ham, son of Canaan. An Edomite is considered a Canaanite. All these people are actually considered Canaanite speakers, or they speak the Canaanite language. So these are general terms that we're dealing with. And some people in the book of Genesis, we don't even know where their origins are. And it's interesting when you study those specific people who don't line up with the lineage of Canaan. It's believed that some of these people, like the Perizzites and the Cadmonites, that their name is very similar to Hurrians. When you look into the etymology, and we look into certain Hurrian names like Nuzi, that is in modern day Iraq. But I don't want to go too deep with what people are with this, because again, you have to read a lot of books dealing with the ancient Near East. But I'm just gonna say a piece there.
Plus, Laron, that article you read said that, and like you were saying, that there was Esau was mixing, and you don't even know. That means that Esau women were probably getting with those people too. here's another thing. If I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Is not the Vikings haplogroup I?
You are correct.
Scandinavians.
So the Vikings are haplogroup I. So are you saying that the Israelites come from the Vikings?
Come on, man.
That's exactly what you would be saying if you're pushing this J.
Directly related to the motherfuckers.
Vikings are the true Semites.
Right. So as I stated
Wait.
before,
Somebody said Vikings.
What?
Who said Vikings are the true son?
I was making a joke. I'm not a British Israelism, but that is what British Israelism would say.
Interesting. Hey, yes, you follow me, bro, so we can start some rules together. You and your...
That was a joke, by the way. I don't think Vikings are Semites. I'm just joking.
right. And so one of the first things is hey brother, if you don't mind, the brother, can you give me a date on the Vikings, DeMonte?
I can't give you no date on the Vikings. Let me make this clear. Hold on, brother. That 43,000 years hold up, listen. That 43,000 years of that haplogroup E did this and 70,000. I don't believe that. There's been studies.
Right.
I was trying to finish. Can I finish my statement, please? They've been doing a study on the recalibration of mutation rates. So from the new study, all those 200,000 years and all that stuff, they breaking it down. It ain't adding up. But go ahead.
I want to say something right quick that's very important about the term.
I heard about it.
Yeah, Viking is actually not an ontological term. Viking does not actually talk about one ethnic group.
We know that, bro. Why the fuck do they do this? Why do these niggas getting hung up on the word fucking Viking? We know that, but we know that they would have been in that Scandinavian area where we see I at, bro. Like, why the fuck is he? Oh, the word Viking. Shut the fuck up, bro. Like, these dudes are just dilettantes, man. What the fuck does Viking got to do? Oh, well, the word Viking, the ontological meaning of it didn't mean anything. And, you know, the EMC sweared in the speed of light. Man, get your goofy. Like, these niggas is goofy as hell. This is why these arguments last. But these niggas was on this shit for like, before I got on her, I've been on her 2.5 hours from now, right? Niggas was arguing in this bitch since I was at work this morning, bro. This is how long they've been in this group arguing. And it's because niggas can never go to a center point of argument. They got to keep veering off. They got to keep making like diversions and red herrings.
The problem that he runs into, as I stated before, is because he's basically, as we see that, you know, when we look in Genesis chapter 10, it gives you these different groups of people. It says in the border of the Canaanites were from Sidon. Now the reason why he lists, he says that thy father was an talking to Jerusalem. He says thy father was an Amorite and thy mother a Hittite, because technically Canaan was a dispersed people. You know what I'm saying, even though they had a land, and the land of Canaan was their land. But Canaanites have been basically dispersed because it says he will be a servant of his brothers. You know what I'm saying? So he's a dispersed people just as well. And so when you look at the Canaanites, the Amorites came and took over the Canaanites. Now the people of Amari is one of the sons of Ham too. Took over.
All right. So this is why I wanted to bust this nigga with.
Actually dividing up the land.
This is why reading is fundamental, man. Now for this, I'm going to bed, bro. I'm not finna stay on here till 3 o'clock in the morning, you know, trying to fucking get one word in with these niggas. All right, so the article here, Science Daily. Who were the Canaanites? New insight from 73 ancient genomes, May 28, 2020. And I'm going to go straight to it. I'm not going to waste 1,000 years on this. Look, it gives you the time frame, 3,500 to 1150 BCE. 3,500 This is when the original there wasn't no tribe of Israel during this time, right? There wasn't no Israelite tribes there. So we would be expecting other tribes there, right? All right, so when we go down here, right? Let's scroll down to it. And this is what kills them. We'll get straight to the kill shot, man. I'm not going to spend 1,000 hours on this. All right. Let's see. The city-states. He lied again. Let me meet him all the way. Check this out. Straight to the meat and potatoes of this. The data suggests that the Canaanites descended from a mixture of earlier local Neolithic populations and populations related to Chalcolithic Iran in or the Bronze Age Caucasus. The researchers documented a significant increase in the proportion of Iranian Caucasus-related ancestry over time, which is supported by 3 individuals who are descendants of recent arrivals from the Caucasus. This is a result of introgression. These are not autochthonous people, and these are not people that come from the biblical son of Ham, the son of Cain, the sons of Canaan, man. They don't come from them. But see, this guy is stuck on stupid, man. And he don't understand scientific literature at all. You understand?
When it comes to these, what they look like. You know what I'm saying? You just did that. I didn't do that. I basically said that there was campaigns that we see, and they got Israelite cartouches of what the people would look like in the surrounding areas, like the people of the Jebusites. Because if you look at it, he campaigned against some Jebusites, and these Jebusites that dwelled in Jerusalem actually was listed on the cartouches when he campaigned, and so when you look at these people that we see that's on this Mariposa Stela and also the walls of Karnak, you see that these people have cartouches on their chests, and they in chains.
This nigga making another dumbass argument.
And they have these little things tied around their heads, and they have these funny noses. You know what I'm saying, that you see almost just like
a Jebusite is not an Israelite.
And so these hook noses that you see, right, is it's not flat noses. You know what I'm saying, they hook noses, and a lot of people that I see, they got them hook noses like that, and they look just like them Lebanese people that you see today.
Here we
just
go.
Like that, because we got pictures. Like if I get brother, hey, Kevin, you remember Meru? You remember Meru, Kevin?
Yeah, I really down. I'm gonna respond to that.
Right, and so one of the things.
What's going on, man?
Is that Meru had pictures.
Hey, I just wanted to say something right quick, bro, if you don't mind, man.
Go ahead, bro.
I know y'all go on there. I just want to say something. I was reading the brother Aya and the other brother comment on Yoruba being influenced by Arabic. Being influenced by Arabic doesn't mean that I'm just saying that doesn't mean that the Yoruba come from Arabia. First of all, the Yoruba got a connection through Arabs through the Beni Hassan and the Mandinka who were practicing Islam in the north. This is where the Yoruba got their horses from, through the northern capital, the Sahel, going backwards and forward. But Swahili is a Bantu language, and they're highly influenced by Arabs directly. We understand what happened in between. The Yoruba language is part of a larger Niger-Congo language family, just like Bantu, just like Igbo, and just like Mandinka. You have Benue Congo, which is the Bantu branch of Niger-Congo, Volta Congo, Alatic Congo. I'm just trying to figure out, it's not hard for people to get into linguistics, study linguistics, and understand what language stratum or language family these people speak. You know what I'm saying? The brother said he had proof that the Yoruba was slightly influenced by the Arabs. Even when you study Odu Ifa or Ifa, you can see that in Ifa they have some customs that connects to a certain type of Islamic tenets, but it's not directly from Arabs. These people have been dealing with Hausa and Mindi. The term Yoruba, people don't even know, is actually a Hausa word to describe the people of Ile Ife. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the term Mandinka. Mandinka or Mali is actually not. That's the Fula term. Mali, which means hippopotamus, is a Fula term or Puler term. That's not. They were actually called the Mandi, and before that they were called Wagadu. So a lot of people don't understand, what's going on. But they're all Niger Congo. They're all Niger Congo, even if they do have slight influences. So I'm just trying to get the brother to explain, just because. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just I know y'all got y'all other thing going, but some of this stuff, man, is getting it's too much, bro.
Yeah, I don't make linguistic arguments, so like he gotta substantiate that, man. I can't substantiate that for him.
But let me ask you this though, bro, on the genetic level. I mean, I know y'all got y'all thing going with the backwards and forth. Let me ask you this. Whether it's Shem, Ham, or Japheth, which all come from Noah, wouldn't Shem, Ham, Japheth all have the same paternal marker if they come from the same man? If people follow that storyline literally. When they all have the same paternal marker, wouldn't Noah be E, Shem be E, Ham be E, and Japheth be E?
No. We don't look at it like that. We don't say they all have E. We say they all branched off. We think from our model that C, T, or C diverge into all those groups. And I got that from Nathaniel Jensen with his Starburst model.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it. Then those C's became D, E, A, B, and CF.
Okay.
I mean, it's a model. So, brother, you wrong. You're wrong. All right, well, okay. You think I'm wrong?
You got a right to have a model that you follow. Like I tell people, like I follow Abrahamic faith. I don't really base my analogy on haplogroups. That's just me. I think that the people in the Middle East have always been mixed, just like the people in Africa has always been mixed. I do believe that E developed in North Africa, not Sub-Saharan Africa. I believe those same North Africans played a role with some of the major components in the early Middle East when some of these E's leak out. They played a role in that. So I don't base it off haplogroups for me. I follow it based off principles of faith. Islam teaches the Abrahamic faith slightly different than how the Hebrews deal with it. Y'all deal with the lineage. Islam really don't care about that, But I get you though.
Yeah, I see that, man. What do you think about this EJ markers, man? Because Laron, he pushing J markers.
I believe that J was present, just like T was present, and just like E was present. And it's not a one lineage thing for how the Israelite faith. This is me. I think that all those people were present. I think that the E were present at this time period. This is a little bit after the Bronze Age, or within the Bronze Age. This time everybody was mixed up. My idea of Shem, Ham, and Japheth isn't based off haplogroups. It's more of a nation thing. It's more of a nation thing. People in Canaan or in that area, because it's a funny thing, because the people in Canaan, like the Philistines, genetically the Philistines came from the Crete area near Greece. The Canaanites, they have genetic ties that comes from early Iran and the southern part of Armenia. In the Bronze Age, when they started to dominate, when the Natufians had a damn near a bottleneck, when they died out or they got absorbed in the newer populations, that happens. So I think that by the time the Israelite faith came, if we follow chronology, I believe that they were a mixed multitude. I think that someone with T, someone with H2, someone with E, and someone with some subclades of J. I can't say that the Ashkenazi isn't a Jew, because the Ashkenazis are nothing but Levantine populations who mix with Central Eastern Europeans. When you look at their paternal markers, it's funny. They got J, they got E, they got a little T, they got some H, and they even got that R1 shit. You know what I'm saying? But I don't believe that R ever played a role in the early Middle Eastern faith. The Hittites were Indo-European speakers, and they played a role with bringing the R down because they're still connected to those people from the Russian steppes or Russian steppe population. They're connected to them just like Persians. All these people connected, and this is when you start to see the larger influx of the R1B and R1A start to come down. So that Central Eastern European market that a lot of Ashkenazis have, they try to say it's a unique clade of it. No, it's not a unique clade of it. Your ass is, even Yiddish itself is Indo-European. It's not even pure so-called Semitic linguistically. Yiddish is Indo-European influenced by Semitic. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Just like Coptic Egyptian is Afro-Asiatic, but it's highly influenced by Greek. It's crazy.
Yeah, like so. Our standpoint, I agree that we were a mixed population, but I think we spoke on this before. The seeds of Jacob would not be the same as those other seeds that was accompanying us. You know what I'm saying? So, in other words, you have a particular Y paternal marker for the putative Jacob, Joseph, in the 12 tribes or whatever, right? And then we would have those other groups with us. Of course, you would be like, okay, these people didn't exist, but I beg to differ on that. And if they existed, like I said, the Y chromosome that I lean towards would be E. They would have had E. These other groups, I don't see them being Jews for the simple fact that how do you explain, like you just brought out the Indo-European thing, how do you explain and fit them into a narrative when they come from the Caucasus? You know, they got relatives in Scandinavia.
Yes, the I and J split. You know, the I and J split, yes. What happened was when Jay started to come down in the Bronze Age, they went in the Middle East and screwed those women and took the languages of their mother. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
That's what happened.
Right. Right. I mean, that's what this paper is pretty much saying. They came from somewhere else, man, and they started admixing. And Laron don't understand that concept. You know what I'm saying? So shit. I don't think the brother. Maybe you should talk to the brother, man. He won't let me talk to him. You on Clubhouse in Gozy? I guess we lost him.
Just because they said that a Jewish group is related to you, you have to look at what that actually means. And what that actually clarifies is talking about your relation to him based on the African DNA. Not his
no,
Jewish
that's not true. That is not true. That's false. But go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead.
Man, I'm finna get off this shit. I ain't gonna be here all night, y'all, man. I'm out of here. I'm not gonna listen to them all night. Going on 3 hours. Exit that group. I don't even do Clubhouse, man. Right, Sean Harris. It does matter, but he don't come from the perspective and paradigm we come from. So I don't sit there and try to, bludgeon him with that. Now, if brothers was combating it, then I was like, all right, let's get it. I'm out of here, y'all. I don't know about y'all. If y'all want to continue to hear them rant, you can download the Clubhouse app and go to Black Hebrew Israelites Hate Africans is the group name. And them niggas is in there all damn week, all day. Like, these niggas don't even sleep. Niggas just be in there all, like, 24-hour period. I'm not finna go through this, bro. Everybody know Laron a pseudo. He's not basing this on no scientific basis or nothing, man. These dudes are weirdos, bro. And Kevin and Laron, if they want to debate, we here. We waiting on them to debate. All right? All right, man. I bid y'all farewell. You know how we rocking, man. Leave y'all with something.
Big business.
RSK, let it play, boy.
When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. I wake up inside me a prayer, brush my teeth, babe, then I throw on some threads. Wash my face, grab a cup, hold me some young, put on my backpack, then I'm off to the bread. I eat these devils for breakfast, gotta be careful. Whole lot of blood being shed in the streets. Running so wicked, I weep for the living, I drop a free cheer for the dead. All my white friends in my pocket, or either they loading onto this black card that I swipe. Say every time that I drop it, the verses be hitting more harder than problems of life. Rich, I collected 2 pennies from every person that willingly gave me me advice. Being afraid can't exist in my spirit. I'm fearing no man but the Father in Christ. I put in work with the brothers. We stood on them corners from 10 to like 9 the same night, teaching our people the gospel, equipped with a camera, some posters, some speakers, and mic. Every time that I see mama, she telling me, son, you gotta walk in the light. Christ, the bread of heaven, keep feeding my spirit, and I want a low, not a slide. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers.
When I tell you I'm an Israelite, tribe of Judah, don't you take it personal. Plead the blood on these demons, we purging them. Don't entertain Jezebels, we be curving them. Ayy, I got a ribbon, she virtuous. In person, this blue life ain't virtual. I can't forget when I heard the truth. I got cut with that word, it got surgical. Conviction can lead to repentance. I pray these verses encourage you. We repented, now we on the vertical. Judah rise and see Isaiah 32. Big business, nothing minuscule. I picked up that pen back in middle school. Guard your light and take heed who you listen to. Watch your mouth and your ears and your vision too. Hashatan and Shalkani won't finish you. In Mortal Kombat, this war is not physical. Gird your loins up and follow the general. Messiah is coming, that's scriptural. You gotta starve your flesh. The real war ain't even started yet. This look like a setup for a second exodus. I'm trying to be where the water at. Let's get it.
When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers. When I tell them I'm an Israelite, it's big business, not miniature. Serving same thing as minister. Kill the flesh, how to finish them. These commandments, they'll sustain you. I'm surrounded by these angels. I ain't worried, I'm protected from seen and unseen dangers.
All right, man. Source gang, 7 gang over everything. You know how we rocking, man. You know we clipped up. You know that we gripped up. 7 candlesticks up, and I've been telling these niggas, it ain't a debate. It's a stick up. Gang.